Chapter 1959. Qin Fen left Tiantong City. The formation teleported him to an unfamiliar, desolate mountain thousands of miles away. Just as Tian Ming had guessed, Qin Fen did not doubt him. He even treated him like a senior, like Barefoot Immortal. In the eyes of these seniors, the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation was related to the survival of the divine continent. As seniors, they had to protect the person undergoing the heavenly tribulation. Putting aside the matter of the Genius Conference and Tiantong City, Qin Fen was faced with a very serious problem. Almost all the sects in the South Flat Continent were after him. There was no place for him in the South Flat Continent anymore. Qin Fen immediately returned to his original appearance. This was what he had planned when he went on a killing spree in the Maze Valley secret territory. However, Qin Fen's original appearance was not completely safe in the South Flat Continent. He had used his original appearance when he was in the Shinkun workshop in Panshan Market. Thinking about his current situation, Qin Fen felt even more helpless. Once again, he had a strong urge to improve his cultivation. The Divine Supreme Continent was a place where only the strong were respected. Here, everything depended on one's fist. If one was not strong enough, everyone would bully him. If one became a powerful expert, everyone would take a detour. Although he was eager to kill his way to the Celestial Gourd and take his sister away, Qin Fen knew that going to Gourd Island would be suicide. Let alone the Celestial Gourd sect master, Elder Mu Feng, who had stepped into the body condensation stage, was enough for him to deal with. Therefore, the most important thing for him now was to increase his cultivation level. He did not plan to leave the South Flat Continent. The spiritual energy in this continent was denser than the North Sand Continent. There were more opportunities than the North Sand Continent, so he would be able to break through faster there. After deciding to explore, Qin Fen immediately thought of Ghost City and Green Island. Ghost City was one of the 8 most dangerous places in the South Flat Continent. Qin Fen only knew about Ghost City after he obtained an Immortal Blossom Stone in the Panshan Market's goods exchange. According to Chuiqing, the Immortal Blossom Stone was found by his father in Ghost City. It was an ordinary stone that existed in the immortal world, so there were many treasures in Ghost City. Later on, Yuanqiu told Qin Fen about the history of Spectre City. When Qin Fen killed off God's Finger told him another story about Spectre City. It was said that God's Finger's founder, Xinzhu Qin, had hidden the secret manual for the 9 Pulses Divine Sword in Spectre City. However, there were also rumors that an immortal artifact had appeared in Spectre City. As for Tsang Island, Qin Feng had obtained the treasure map from Aku. That woman was extremely mysterious. She immediately gifted him 3 rank 8 spiritual grasses. Moreover, that woman's flying sword was a best quality true artifact. It could be seen that her identity was definitely not ordinary. The treasure that this mysterious woman wanted to find naturally wouldn't be too bad. Qin Feng had decided that he would go to Grey Island to take a look when he had time. Qin Fen wanted to go to both Ghost City and Grey Island, but after thinking it over, he decided to go to Grey Island first. Firstly, Grey Island was located at the border of the South Flat State and was connected to the Fallen God Sea. There weren't many sects there, so it was convenient for him to avoid being hunted down. Secondly, Ghost City was one of the 8 danger zones of the South Flat State. It was said that even body condensation stage and cauldron filling state experts would die there. Qin Fen was somewhat worried. "Ant cultivator, you dare to escape as a cultivation vessel? Wait till I catch you, I'll teach you a lesson." After flying in the direction of Grey Island for half a month, Qin Fen suddenly heard an angry roar behind him. He immediately became vigilant. He originally thought that the other party wanted to rob his soaring cloud all, but after seeing the situation clearly, he realized that the other party was chasing another cultivator. As for the cultivator being chased, he was merely at level 5 Immortal Chi stage and was fleeing on a pink flying sword. Along the way, Qin Fen didn't know how many such situations he had encountered. He couldn't even solve his own problems, so he didn't have the mood to care about the lives of others. Just as he was about to speed up and leave, Qin Fen saw the cultivator's face clearly. His expression changed drastically, and he turned the soaring cloud all in that direction. In the South Flat State, immortal artifact flying ships were extremely rare treasures. Flying ships like the soaring cloud all that were comparable to high-grade immortal artifacts were even rarer. When Qinfen flew over, the three cultivators immediately stopped in their tracks. The three of them hovered in the air and stared at the rapidly approaching soaring cloud all. The cultivator who was escaping was also stunned and didn't know whether he should continue running or not. "Who are you?" "That human has already been bought by us in the 80-mile city as a cultivation vessel. You'd better mind your own business." One of the three cultivators spoke. For some reason, when he mentioned the 80-mile city, his tone was clearly more confident. Qinfen didn't know what the 80-mile city was, nor did he know what a cultivation vessel was. However, he was sure that he didn't recognize the wrong person. The man being chased was his adoptive father, Qin Huang. "When I was young, you were chased out of the capital's Qin clan and brought me to the East Sea to fight for a place. Back then, I was unruly, and you protected me. Now we met again. You were chased from the South Flat State all the way to the sea, and I was fortunate to meet you. At that time, I had just become the #1 genius of the South Flat State, and it was me who protected you." The moment he recognized Qin Huang, 2 drops of hot tears rolled down his cheeks. Who said that men didn't cry? It was only because they hadn't fallen in love yet. "Dad!" Qinfen hurriedly rushed out of the soaring cloud all and landed beside Qin Huang. After calling out his father's name, he felt extremely happy. When Qin Huang came back to his senses, he immediately wanted to escape. If he fell into the hands of those 3 men, he would rather die than live. However, before he could fly away, he was stunned on the spot by someone calling him Dad. No one in the Divine Supreme Continent had ever called him father. At this moment, he felt like he had returned to the familiar and beloved Earth. "Fulmer? Is that really you, Fulmer?" Qin Huang cried tears of joy when he saw Qinfen standing less than 1 meter away from him. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. It was like a dream. Qin Huang wasn't the only one who felt it was unreal. When Qinfen saw him, he also felt like he was dreaming. However, when he saw Qin Huang at such a close distance, heard his real voice, and smelled his scent, Qinfen knew that this wasn't a dream. It was the same as when he saw his sister not long ago. "Brat, I don't care what relationship you have with this person. He is now my cauldron. If you want to live, throw down the storage ring and get lost." Just as the 2 of them were feeling emotional, a cold voice came from not far away. Qinfen didn't want to get involved in this matter, and he didn't even look at the opponent's cultivation. When he looked over, he found that there were only 3 true Spirit Realm cultivators chasing after him. The highest cultivation was only True Spirit Realm 7, and the lowest was True Spirit Realm 2. For Qinfen, who had killed Void God Realm and even late Void God Realm cultivators, True Spirit Realm cultivators were no longer a threat to him. As he was about to kill the 3 of them, his divine sense detected something strange. The aura of these 3 people should be at the True Spirit Realm, but it was a little different. "Qin Feng, it's great to be able to see you again. Hurry and run, these 3 aren't humans at all, they're your cultivators who ate the form transformation pill. I've already fallen into their hands and become their cauldron, you can't end up like me." After the pleasant surprise, Qin Huang suddenly came to his senses. He pushed Qinfen with a panicked expression, trying to chase him away. Qinfen suddenly understood. No wonder the 3 of them felt different when his divine sense scanned them. They weren't humans, but beasts in human form. Although it was Qinfen's first time meeting a shape-shifting beast cultivator, he had heard about shape-shifting beast cultivators when he was exploring the Fallen God's Sea in the North Sand continent. Moreover, according to Senior Barefoot Enlightened Being, the Beast Clan's calamity on the Divine Mainland 1,000 years ago was caused by shape-shifting beast cultivators leading the Beast Clan. Aside from the 4 great continents on the Divine Continent, there was also the vast Fallen God's Sea. It was said that the Fallen God's Sea was boundless, even bigger than the 4 great continents combined. As for the demonic cultivators, They basically lived on the islands near the Godfall Sea. They rarely stepped into the four continents. As for the human cultivators, they rarely went to the islands inhabited by the demonic cultivators. This seemed to be an unwritten rule. Qin Fin immediately realized that he was close to the Green Island, because the Green Island was near the islands on the outskirts of the fallen God Sea. This place used to belong to the Beast clan. He had no idea why Senior Aka hid the treasure in a place like this. But now was not the time to think about the treasure map. Qin Fin smiled at Qin Huang and said, "Dad, you don't need to worry about me. Those 3 ants can't do anything to me." Qin Fin returned to his original appearance after leaving Tiantong City. In order to avoid being hunted down, he purposely showed his cultivation level to be at the early stage of true spirit. With Qin Huang's cultivation level, he couldn't see through Qin Fin's cultivation level, but the 3 Beast Clan cultivators could see it clearly. Humph! A mere level 3 true spirit ant-like human dares to speak arrogantly in the Green Island. Don't think that we can't kill you. We're just too lazy to waste time. I'll give you one last chance to live. Hand over the storage ring and scram, or else you'll die. Why are you still talking nonsense with him? Just kill him. The 3 Beast Clan cultivators didn't put Qin Fin in their eyes. Just like one of them said, they saw that Qin Fin was at the true spirit realm, so they were too lazy to fight with him. But if Qin Fin didn't know what was good for him, they would teach this reckless human a lesson. When he heard that Qin Fin was at the true spirit realm, Qin Huang revealed a shocked expression. But he quickly came to his senses and pushed Qin Fin in panic. "Thonger, leave quickly. Those 3 beasts are all at the true spirit realm. You can't defeat them by yourself. Who are you calling a beast? See if I don't hack you to death." One of the Beast Clan cultivators was enraged. He slashed down with his long blade and a resplendent golden light shot over. This blade exploded with ferocious true essence, as if space itself was falling. Qin Fin raised his eyebrows and looked at the sky. He discovered that the Beast Clan cultivators were much stronger than the human cultivators of the same level. "Thonger, run quickly!" Qin Huang already felt death approaching. With his cultivation level of Immortal Chi Stage 5, he had no way of fighting back against the revered True Spirit's sure-kill attack. He didn't even hope for his own survival. He only hoped that Qin Fin could dodge the attack and escape this place. P.S. Dear book friends, Happy New Year! Family Reunion. Chapter 1960. The father and son had just reunited, but they were about to die tragically in a foreign land. This feeling made Qin Emperor feel hopeless. Rumble! At this moment, Qin Emperor heard a loud noise. He looked up into the sky instinctively, and a shocked expression appeared on his face. Qin Fin had unknowingly slashed down with his sword. The sword brought with it a silver sword light. The sword light was so thin that it was hard to notice, but it expanded into a rainbow as it soared into the sky. The ferocious saber energy of the opponent was instantly shattered by the rainbow sword light, as if it was as easy as cutting a piece of tofu. An explosion occurred. Qin Fin struck out with a simple sword strike, and the beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm exploded into dust. The smell of blood was mixed in the wind, and it brought along a strange energy. Qin Emperor didn't expect Qin Fin to be so powerful. His opponent was a beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm, but he couldn't even withstand a single strike from Qin Fin. The remaining 2 beast cultivators were shocked. They knew that their comrade's cultivation level was lower than Qin Fin's by a small level, but the body of a beast cultivator was naturally stronger than that of a human, and their strength was ferocious. In a battle of the same level, a beast cultivator was invincible, and it was normal for a beast cultivator to kill a human cultivator of a higher level. "You dared to kill Boji? This is the Green Island. You dared to kill a beast cultivator here?" One of them was still in a daze. The other beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm attacked directly. He took out a magic treasure in the shape of a triangular awl. The magic treasure shot out a red glow as soon as it was taken out. The red glow was densely packed, and it looked like both sword energy and saber energy, bringing with it a ferocious, murderous intent. Qin Fen wanted to retreat when he saw the red glow, and he couldn't help but sigh at the strength of the beast cultivators. His opponent was only a beast cultivator of level 2 of the true spirit realm. If he encountered a beast cultivator of level 2 of the empty god realm, he didn't know if he could kill him. But he was only distracted for a moment, and Qin Fen immediately swung his sword. The Jinni's sword shot up into the sky with a silver glow, and when it collided with the red glow, a loud sound of metal colliding rang out. The red glow looked unstoppable, but it dissipated quickly under the attack of the sword energy, vanishing without a trace. How is this possible? The late-stage true spirit beast cultivator was stunned. As soon as he finished speaking, there was a loud explosion from his body and his tattered clothes fell onto a giant rock. The remaining middle-stage true spirit beast cultivator immediately ran away. After flying 100 meters, he suddenly stopped and revealed a look of disbelief in his eyes. His divine sense had actually been attacked. That early-stage true spirit human cultivator could actually use a divine sense attack? Voila! Before the demonic cultivator could figure out what was going on, a ball of dark blue flame burned fiercely on his body. If one looked closely, the blue flame was in the shape of a blooming sunflower, floating in the sky. It was a magnificent sight. Nobody could appreciate this magnificent scene. The Qin Emperor, the only witness, had his eyes wide open and his mouth agape. He wasn't in the mood to look at the spiritual sunflower flame. He was wondering if all this was a dream. Dad! Where did Grandpa go? To Qin Fen, it was as if nothing had happened after he killed the 3 demonic cultivators of the real spirit realm. He didn't even bother to collect the storage rings of the 3 demonic cultivators and return to the side of Qin Emperor. Ah! By the way, your grandpa is still in the 80-kilometer city. He was captured by the demonic cultivators to be sold as a human cauldron. Let's go and save him. Qin Emperor suddenly came to his senses. Grandpa was sold as a human cauldron? What is going on? Qin Fen furrowed his eyebrows. Qin Emperor said quickly, Your grandpa, your younger sister, and I were teleported here. Not long after we arrived, an elder of the Celestial Gourd sect took a fancy to Duo Heir's talent and forcefully took her back to cultivate. Your grandpa and I searched everywhere for you, and we came to the Green Island without a clue. Later, we found out that this was the territory of the demonic cultivators. But it was too late to leave. Your grandpa and I were captured by the demonic cultivators to be sold as human cauldrons for other demonic cultivators to cultivate. I was bought by those 3 demonic cultivators, and I escaped when they weren't paying attention. I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Emperor told Qin Fen what he had experienced quickly. Qin Fen grew anxious after hearing the story, and he asked Qin Emperor to lead the way to the 80-kilometer city. On the flying cloud cone, Qin Emperor told Qin Fen about the situation of the 80-kilometer city and the Green Island. The Green Island was huge, and it was divided into 3 areas: the 3 islands of the North Ring, the Nanming Palace, and the East Dragon Palace. It was said that these 3 areas were occupied by the demonic cultivators, and were guarded by the demon kings. The 80-kilometer city was actually a city 80 kilometers away from the Green Island, and it was the symbol of entering the Green Island. Regular human cultivators would stop at the 80-kilometer city, and they wouldn't enter the territory of the Green Island. The 80-kilometer city wasn't the territory of the demonic cultivators. It was a public city where human cultivators, demonic cultivators, ghost cultivators, and demonic cultivators could all meet. It was a dangerous place with all kinds of people mixed together. But it was also because of the gathering of all kinds of races that the 80-kilometer city was quite famous in the South Pingzhou state. Because many rare treasures and materials could be bought there, Qin Fen put away the flying cloud cone in a valley outside the 80-kilometer city. This top-tier true-grade flying artifact was too eye-catching, and it would attract unnecessary trouble. Besides, he had used the flying cloud cone when he appeared as Xiao Feng. If someone found out, his identity would be exposed. The 2 of them stepped on their flying swords and rushed towards the 80-kilometer city. Qin Fen didn't take out his true grade flying sword, but a golden grade flying sword, which was in line with his early stage true spirit cultivation. When they were still a few hundred meters away, Qin Fen saw a towering city gate. On the city gate the words, 80-kilometer city, were carved. The 80-kilometer city was much simpler than Qin Fen imagined. There was only one city gate, and there wasn't even a city wall around it. But when Qin Fen got closer, he realized something. Although there wasn't a city wall to protect it, the 80-kilometer city was surrounded by a defensive formation. The faint fluctuation of the formation was hard to detect, and Qin Fen couldn't even see what kind of formation it was. But from the ancient aura of the formation, he could tell that it was a great formation passed down from ancient times. There weren't any guards at the city gate, and many cultivators casually came in and out. Qin Fen noticed 4 demonic cultivators among the people passing by. The more he interacted with the demonic cultivators, the clearer he could feel the unique aura of the demonic cultivators. It was just like the first time he met the 3 demonic cultivators who chased after Qin Huang. Just at the entrance of the city, the 2 sides of the bluestone street were filled with stalls. The stalls were selling a dazzling array of items, weapons, pills, materials, and so on. Qin Fen had been to many market squares and cities, but he had never seen such a bustling shopping street like the 80-kilometer city. This city seemed to be born for trading. Shops of all sizes could be seen everywhere, and the cultivators walking on the street were basically choosing items. What surprised Qin Fen even more was that the stalls here were selling many items that even he didn't have. For example, some spirit grasses that could only grow in the fallen god's sea, and materials like crystal stones from the sea. Chapter 1961. Qin Fen was attracted by some of the items sold at the stalls, but he was worried about his grandfather, so he didn't have the time to look carefully. Under Qin Huang's lead, the 2 of them came to a store called Dominating Heaven Human Cauldron. The store was quite big, taking up thousands of square meters. It had 3 floors, and in the corner of the hall on the first floor, there were dozens of iron cages. They didn't only contain human cultivators, but also demonic cultivators and demonic beasts. Qin Fen even saw a few powerful spirits. Those spirits all had green eyes, just like the spirits he saw in the level 9 soul nurturing array on the 8th floor of the 13 palaces. It was Qin Fen's first time seeing such a scene. He didn't expect that some cultivators would be locked up like livestock, and then wait for the fate of being bought by others. To put it bluntly, these cultivation furnaces were like spirit stones, provided to others for cultivation. 2 balls of fire burned in Qin Feng's eyes. He didn't dare to continue looking, afraid that in the next second, he would see his grandfather curled up in one of the iron cages with disheveled hair. After looking through the dozens of iron cages on the first floor, Qin Fen heaved a sigh of relief. His grandfather wasn't in one of these cages, but he immediately felt worried. Could it be that his grandfather had already been bought by someone? "Where's the old man who came with me?" Qin Huang also noticed the situation and immediately pulled a shop assistant beside him to ask. Back then, he and Qin Shirtian were locked up in the iron cages on the first floor. As for the second and third floors, they were used to lock up the better human cauldrons. Now that he couldn't find Qin Shirtian on the first floor, how could Qin Huang not be worried? The shop assistant was already in a bad mood when he was stopped. When he saw Qin Huang, he immediately recognized that he was the human furnace that had just been bought this morning. He immediately yelled angrily, "Good fellow, you dared to escape and come back to the trading company. You are seeking death!" As a human cauldron, his status was extremely low, even lower than those ordinary mortals who couldn't cultivate. Mortals could at least live freely in mortal cities, but human cauldrons had to follow their masters and sacrifice themselves to provide for their masters' cultivation. As the shop assistant spoke, he reached out to grab Qin Huang. Qin Huang was only at the 5th level of immortal energy, but the shop assistant was already at the early stage of Saint King, so he didn't care about Qin Huang at all. But before he could grab Qin Huang, his wrist was grabbed by someone else. It was as if a huge force was poured into his wrist, causing the shop assistant to grimace in pain. Ouch! It hurts! Hurry up and let go. This is the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. You're not allowed to cause trouble here. Qin Feng had come to find his grandfather. He still needed to ask the waiter about the situation, so he didn't crush him to death. Where's the old man who came with him? Qin Feng's expression was ice cold. At this time, the shop assistant went to check Qin Feng's cultivation, but found that he couldn't see through it at all. His back was covered in cold sweat, and he immediately smiled. Hee hee. Don't worry, Senior. That old man is still in the shop, but someone took a fancy to him in the morning and said that he would come to buy him in the afternoon. So, our trading company temporarily locked him up and settled him in the VIP room. Although the waiter changed his words very quickly, it still couldn't escape Qin Feng's ears. Qin Feng realized that his grandfather was most likely locked up in a small, damp room, and was instantly enraged. Cut the crap. Take me to see that old man immediately. Qin Feng's burst of true essence almost made the waiter dizzy. The waiter realized that Qin Feng was even more powerful than he imagined, and he immediately trembled in fear. He wanted to find the trading company's elder to back him up, but he was afraid that before he could call the elder, he would die first. Senior, calm down, this lowly one will take you there now. You must not kill this lowly one. The waiter immediately led the way. When they reached the side door of the trading company, he secretly gave another waiter a meaningful glance. That waiter was also at the Saint King realm, so he didn't dare to offend Qin Feng's dignity. In his heart, he planned to secretly inform the elder after Qin Feng left. These small glances naturally couldn't escape Qin Feng's eyes, but he pretended not to see them. He also knew that forcibly taking someone away from the trading company was a very difficult matter, and it would definitely alarm the trading company's upper echelons. But this time, the person he wanted to save was his grandfather, Qin Shitian. Even if there were tens of thousands of people blocking his way, Qin Feng would still kill his way out. The waiter brought the two to a small compartment in the inner room. The room was very small, only 3 or 4 square meters. It should be a grocery room. There was an iron cage thrown in the narrow and messy room, and a person was curled up in the cage. His clothes were tattered, and his hair was messy. Even his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. But Qin Feng and Qin Huang immediately recognized the person imprisoned. It was undoubtedly Qin Shitian. At this moment, Qin Feng's eyes were blood-red, and his fists were clenched so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. In his mind, his grandfather appeared in the land of Huaxia in a white tang suit, and his appearance was full of metal. At that time, his grandfather was one of the 9 dragons, and his status was high and mighty. But now, he had fallen into such a dire situation. My son, why have you come back? Don't worry about me. Hurry up and leave this place. The further the better. Qin Shitian used his hand to cover his eyes. He wasn't used to the light coming in from outside. His tone was filled with panic and fear. Clearly, he was extremely afraid of this place, or rather, he was extremely terrified of becoming a furnace. But before Qin Huang could say anything, Qin Shitian's gaze fell on Qin Feng. His old eyes immediately widened, and they shot out a light of surprise and joy. Fengmer? I actually saw Fengmer? Are my eyes playing tricks on me? Or is it because I miss Fengmer so much that I'm hallucinating? Qin Shitian and Qin Huang had the same reaction when they first saw Qin Feng. Qin Huang said with tears in his eyes, Dad, Fengmer really came. He's already a true spirit realm expert. He didn't disappoint me in your expectations. A generation reunited in a different world. That kind of emotion was indescribable. Not only was there joy and excitement, but there were also many unspeakable sorrows and frustrations. When Qin Feng was about to call the shop assistant to open the chains, he discovered that the shop assistant had already disappeared. He was too lazy to chase after the shop assistant, so he casually used a wind blade to cut the iron cage open. Qin Shitian was supported by the two of them. When he saw the sunlight outside again, he even felt like he was dreaming. That's not right. My son, weren't you also bought by someone? How did you meet Fonger? Qin Shitian had a blank expression. Qin Huang quickly said, Dad, this isn't the place to talk. Let's escape from the city first. Humph. You want to run away as a furnace? You're simply courting death. Before the three of them could leave, an old voice traveled into their ears from afar. Before that voice could even finish speaking, a black shadow floated outside the door. The silhouette was like mist and light at the same time. Clearly, it was a sign that he had stepped into the Nihility God realm. When Qin Fan used his divine sense to scan the surroundings, he knew that this person was a level 3 Nihility God realm beast cultivator. He summoned his 3 clones and they were guarding the exits. The appearance of a Void God realm expert made Qin Huang and Qin Shitian feel despair. In front of this kind of expert, they weren't even considered as ants. Fonger, your grandfather and I can't get out. Run by yourself? To be able to see Fonger one last time before I die, this bag of old bones can die without regrets. Within the city, killing for no reason is not allowed. Fonger, don't be afraid of them. You're not a furnace. You're a free person in this city. After you get out, remember to find your younger sister, Qin Duoer. In the eyes of Qin Shitian and Qin Huang, Qin Feng wasn't a match for the Void God Realm Beast Cultivator. However, Qin Feng didn't put the old man in front of him in his eyes at all. He even searched a larger area to see if there were any stronger people. After a while, a large group of trading company disciples rushed over. However, there was no higher realm beast cultivator. Qin Feng quickly understood that he was only at true spirit realm 3. The other party sent out a Void God realm elder because they thought he was dead. It was just a Void God realm, so Qin Feng didn't give them any face. He roared at the crowd. Get out of the way or I'll kill you! The corridor suddenly became silent, and the atmosphere was very strange. Not to mention the Void God realm elder floating in the air, just a dozen or so disciples that rushed over filled the corridor. There were a few mid and late stage true spirit realm experts among them. Under such a powerful formation, Qin Feng wasn't scared to the point of kneeling down and begging for mercy. Instead, he actually dared to speak so arrogantly? You really don't know what's good for you. Laozi wants to see how you're going to kill me. The aura of the beast cultivator in the air suddenly increased. A gust of wind blew, but he still didn't make a move. It was unknown what he was waiting for. Qin Feng immediately retracted his true essence aura. He suddenly realized that the 80-mile city was similar to Tiantong City. He couldn't take the initiative to cause trouble. Whoever made the first move would definitely die a terrible death. You don't need to pretend. It won't be that easy for me to make a move. I want this old man. Name a price. Qin Feng quickly regained his calm. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator held back his anger, but he couldn't explode. He coldly stared at Qin Feng and said, That cauldron has already been reserved. How much deposit did they pay? I'll pay double. Qin Feng was very generous. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator didn't know the specifics. This kind of small matter wasn't in his jurisdiction. The shop assistant who led Qin Feng and Qin Huang here said, Elder Ji, the guest didn't pay a deposit. He's our old customer, Elder Mu He of the Celestial Gourd sect. Hearing the word Celestial Gourd, a murderous look flashed in Qin Feng's eyes. He hated the Celestial Gourd sect the most. They didn't let go of Qin Duoer, and used her as bait to force him to give in. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator's eyes flashed. His aura suddenly disappeared. He looked at Qin Feng with a playful expression and said, Little ant, are you sure you want to buy that cauldron? Qin Feng could see through the Beast Cultivator's thoughts at a glance, but he didn't care. No matter what, I have to take him away today. Seeing Qin Feng's unyielding attitude, the Void God Realm Beast Cultivator smiled even wider. Very well. Then you have to pay 1,000,000 upper-grade spirit stones as a deposit first. Otherwise, there's no need to talk. 1,000,000 spirit stones was definitely not a small amount for an ordinary cultivator. Besides, Qin Shitian was only a cauldron of the early stage of Saint King. This kind of cauldron was the lowest level. It would be good if he could sell it for 100,000 spirit stones. The Void God Realm Beast Cultivator purposely quoted a high price. He wasn't afraid that Qin Feng wouldn't buy it. Chapter 1962. 1 million high-grade spirit stones? Why don't you just rob someone? Qin Huang said angrily. Qin Shutian immediately said, I'm just an early-stage Saint King. A furnace of this level can only be sold for 100,000 spirit stones at most. You're raising the price. The Hollow God Realm Beast Cultivator was enraged. What qualifications do you two furnaces have to question my words? If you dare to speak out of turn, I'll slap you to death. Qin Fen was also angry. He wanted nothing more than to kill the demonic cultivator in the air. However, he forced himself to calm down. Standing in front of his father and grandfather, he said, There are 1 million upper spirit stones here. Can I take them away now? 1 million spirit stones was nothing to Qin Feng. Moreover, it was to save his grandfather's life. Even if it was 100 million spirit stones, he would hand it over without blinking. Kirio was stunned. He didn't expect Qin Feng to be so rich. 1 million spirit stones was like 100 spirit stones. He thought Qin Feng would bargain. He didn't expect Qin Feng to throw the storage ring at him without even blinking. At this moment, Kirio didn't even dare to use his divine sense to scan the storage ring. He was deeply afraid that there was a trap in the ring. Ha! Elder Kirio, how have you been? At this time, laughter came from outside. When Kirio heard that voice, he immediately revealed a pleasantly surprised expression. He ignored Qin Feng and the others and flew to the hall on the first floor. The disciples who had followed Qin Huang and Qin Shutian all followed him, and the passageway became empty. Before Qin Huang and Qin Shutian could figure out what was going on, Qin Fen used his spiritual awareness to detect 2 men wearing the gored clothing standing in the middle of the hall. Why did they leave? Feng or Dad, let's take this chance to escape. Qin Huang and Qin Shutian looked at each other and nodded. Qin Feng was already walking towards the hall on the first floor. We don't need to escape. We'll walk out of the hall openly. The two were puzzled, but seeing Qin Feng disappear at the end of the corridor, they could only follow. Ha ha! Elder Mu is too polite. You are an esteemed guest of our dominating Heaven Furnace Merchant Company. It is my fault for not going out to meet you. Kirito forced a smile on his face. It was as if he was a completely different person from how he treated Qin Fen's group of 3 coldly. Elder Ji is a busy person, I don't want to disturb you. Oh right, I'm here to buy a batch of furnaces. I've already ordered them this morning. I hope Elder Ji can help me bring them out. He got down to business. Kirio had already felt Qin Fen's aura and knew that he had come to the hall. There was an imperceptible smile in his eyes as he sent a sound transmission to Mu. Elder Mu, an early-stage true spirit and has taken a fancy to your cultivation furnace, so I've swindled him of 1 million down payment. We'll split the spirit stones evenly, and you can help me drive him away, how about it? As a Hollow God Realm cultivator, only cultivators of the same realm could hear his voice. He didn't think that Qin Fen could hear his conversation with Mu. However, Qin Fen heard everything clearly. Elder Qin. Mu's words. Mu he'd say. Mu. Will Elder Ji keep his word? Kirian winked at him. Don't worry, Elder Mu. We are old friends. Would I trick you? Then it's a deal. Where is that ant? Let me teach him a lesson. The two of them quickly came to an agreement. Kirian was very excited. He did not have to do anything and he could get 500,000 high-grade spirit stones. This kind of deal was profitable. Cough cough. That true spirit cultivator, come over here for a moment. Kirito's gaze landed on Qin Fen with a playful smile. Qin Feng heard every word of their conversation. Qin Feng laughed inwardly. There had been too many people who wanted to trick him, but in the end, they were all tricked by him. Why is Elder Ji looking for me? Can I take them away now? Qin Feng acted as if he didn't know anything. The corners of Kirito's mouth curled up. You can take her away, but you have to seek Elder Mu's opinion. After all, Elder Mu took a fancy to that cultivation furnace first. You're snatching her away midway. As soon as he finished speaking, he immediately stood out with a cold expression. This cooperation was very good. You don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. You want to snatch the cultivation furnace from me? Which sect are you from? Do you recognize the symbol on my clothes? Seeing that Qin Feng was a human cultivator, he did not care about him at all. As a small elder of one of the few six-star sects in the South Plateau state, he believed that his name could scare off Qin Feng. Qin Huang and Qin Shirtian had never heard of immortal gourds before, but they could feel that He's aura was as dense and mysterious as Kirion's. He was clearly a void god realm master. Two void gods suddenly appeared to oppose Qin Feng. Despair rose in the two of them again. I'm just an itinerant cultivator. I don't belong to a sect. Qin Feng's expression was calm. He laughed loudly. Ha ha. So you're an itinerant cultivator. Hurry up and scram. Qin Feng also laughed. What ability do you have to look down on itinerant cultivators? Wasn't the number one of the Genius Conference not long ago a itinerant cultivator? Now that Xiao Feng's name was known throughout the South Plateau state, it definitely helped the itinerant cultivators vent their anger. They had always been suppressed and bullied by sect disciples in the South Plateau state, and they had to swallow their anger. Now, if there were sects bullying them, the itinerant cultivators would use Xiao Feng's name to refute. Humph! Don't mention that bastard Xiao to me. Right now, all the sects in the South Plateau state are hunting him down. That brat is like a coward and doesn't dare to show his face. What's there to show off? He said angrily. If that guy dares to stand in front of me, I can crush him to death with one hand. Qin Shirtian and Qin Huang were stunned and looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. They knew that Qin Feng had another identity as Xiao Feng. Could the number one genius of the South Plateau state that he mentioned be Qin Feng? Really? I heard that young hero Qiao can even kill a genius disciple of a seven-star sect. He even killed a peak void god realm grand elder of the immortal gourd. You're only at the mid-stage void god realm. Can you defeat young hero Qiao? Qin Feng touched He's sore spot, making him so angry that he was on the verge of exploding. However, before he could say anything, Qin Feng continued. Oh right! You asked me which sect you're from, but I really can't tell. Why don't you tell me? When it came to arguing, Qin Feng had never lost. He's face turned green, and his body trembled. His mouth opened and closed, but he couldn't say a word. How dare you! We're cultivators from the six-star sect, the Immortal Gourd. This is young Elder He of the Immortal Gourd. Watch what you say. The white-robed disciple standing next to He scolded. Qin Feng revealed a look of sudden realization. Oh! So you're from the Immortal Gourd. Didn't your sect lose a grand elder? Why are you still in the mood to stroll around outside? He's eyes rolled back, and he almost fainted from anger. You're courting death. The white-robed disciple waved his hand and threw out a flying sword. The surrounding air was instantly enveloped by the sword light, and the temperature plummeted. However, before the sword light could land on Qin Feng's body, Kirio casually waved his hand, and the sword light scattered. Elder this is the 80-kilometer city. It's not good to make a move here. Kirio stared at the white-robed disciple with a reproachful look. He calmed down and scolded the disciple. Why are you still here? Who allowed you to make a move? Jingyi lowered his head and retreated behind He. He stared at Qin Feng coldly. He thought that if it wasn't for the rules of the 80-kilometer city, Qin Feng would have already died under his sword. Qin Feng felt that Jingyi was somewhat familiar. Back at the square of Tiantong City, this person was standing with the Immortal Gourd sex group, and he seemed to be Qin Duoer's big senior brother. However, the way he looked at Qin Duoer was somewhat strange. Elder let's get down to business, Kirio reminded him. From his point of view, it was unwise to make a move on Qin Feng within the 80-kilometer city. However, it was still easy to make a move on this ant. Brat, I've been eyeing that cultivation furnace for a long time. If you dare to snatch it from me, you've broken the rules of the 80-kilometer city. If you don't leave now, don't blame me for making a move on you. He found an excuse to make a move. Although the 80-kilometer city couldn't kill for no reason, it could still make a move if it was reasonable. Qin Feng sneered. Ha! What right do you have to say that the old man is yours? Did you pay for it? He choked. Mu Jingyi shouted. Our elder he is a frequent customer of this business. Since he said he wanted that cultivation furnace, then that cultivation furnace belongs to Elder He. Humph! That Elder He is really impressive. If he said that all the women in the 80-kilometer city were his, then would all the women have to serve him? Qin Feng sneered. Mu Jingyi rolled his eyes. You're twisting words and forcing logic. Qin Feng's tone turned cold. I'm not twisting words and forcing logic. I'm just being reasonable. Not long ago, I paid Elder Ji 1,000,000 spirit stones as a deposit, but all you guys said is a promise. It's obvious who the real buyer is. If you don't leave now, I'm really going to make a move. He and the other two were so angry that they blew their beards and glared at Qin Feng. They were the ones who wanted to bully Qin Feng, but this brat changed the whole situation with just a few words. He looked at Kirio and waited for his decision. However, Kirio looked like he was in a difficult position. It was obvious that Qin Feng had accepted the 1,000,000 high-grade spirit stones from Qin Feng. Elder Ji, what are you doing? He was a little angry. He felt like he was being used as a pawn by Kirio. Elder don't be anxious. That brat is digging a trap for us. We can't fall into his trap. After saying that, he threw a storage ring to Qin Feng and said, I'll return the spirit stones to you, but I won't sell that cultivation furnace. Now that you deliberately disturbed the order of the 80-kilometer city, I'm going to ask the guards of the city to come and arrest you. Qin Shitian and Qin Huang were instantly anxious. They had seen some people who caused trouble in the 80-kilometer city, and they all ended tragically. However, Qin Feng's expression was indifferent, and he didn't look worried at all. Is your big business playing house with me? You took my deposit, but you easily reneged on the deal between us. Hurry up and call the guards of the city over. I'm going to ask them to judge this. Chapter 1963. Qin Feng was someone who wouldn't be swayed by force or persuasion. No matter how Kirio and the others tried to scare him or persuade him to leave, it had no effect. Kirio didn't dare to call for the guards anymore. He thought about what had happened and realized that Qin Feng was indeed in the right. Only now did Kirio realize that he had been tricked. The reason why Qin Feng took out a deposit of 1,000,000 without hesitation was because he was waiting for this moment. Elder Kirio, my time is very precious. Since you've taken my money, hurry up and give me the person. Otherwise, I'll call for the guards to uphold justice. Qin Feng realized that Kirio was afraid of the guards and used this to force him to give in. Kirio didn't know what to do and looked at He with an inquiring gaze. He had a stomach full of anger and had nowhere to vent it. He almost cursed at Kirio. I saw that furnace first. If I give it to that kid, where will my face be? Where will the prestige of the celestial gourd be? He didn't back down. Kirio could only force a smile and look at Qin Feng. Young hero, I'll return the 1,000,000 deposit to you. Our dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company has many furnaces for sale. How about I recommend them to you personally? Qin Feng's expression was resolute. Cut the crap. I only want that old man. Hurry up and handle the procedures. I'm leaving. Kirio was furious. A mere early-stage true spirit cultivator dared to not know how to appreciate favors. If they weren't in the city, he would have slapped Qin Feng to death. I'll give you 1,100,000 spirit stones. The extra 100,000 can be considered compensation. Are you satisfied now? Kirio's expression turned cold. He didn't get any money and had to pay 100,000 spirit stones. How could he not be angry? However, Kirio laughed in his heart. If Qin Feng dared to take back the deposit, he would punish him with the crime of maliciously obstructing a transaction. Let's see if this grandson can still be so arrogant then. But just as this thought appeared, Qin Feng firmly rejected it. Are you deaf? I'll say it one last time. I must take this person away. It doesn't matter how many spirit stones you pay. Kirian was so angry that he almost couldn't control himself from attacking Mafa. Mu He and Mu Jing had cold expressions on their faces. As disciples of the South Flat Continent's six-star sect, the Immortal Gourd sect, very few human cultivators dared to disrespect them. Moreover, the other party was a nameless itinerant cultivator. Since when were the itinerant cultivators of the South Flat Continent so arrogant? Elder Mu, why don't you just let him have that furnace? In any case, you've already ordered 30 furnaces, so one more won't make a difference. Kirito was at his wit's end. Mu He yelled coldly. This isn't about a cauldron, it's about the celestial gourd and my reputation. Qin Fen didn't think that the disciples of the celestial gourd sect had any face in front of him. If he wasn't in the 80-kilometer city, he wouldn't have bothered talking to Mu He and the other two. He would have killed them already. However, Qin Fen's curiosity was piqued when he heard that Mu He wanted 30 human cauldrons. Cultivating with human cauldrons was usually done by demonic and demonic cultivators, and some ghost cultivators would do the same. However, it was extremely rare for human cultivators. The Celestial Gourd was a famous six-star righteous sect in the South Flat Continent. Why would they collect human cauldrons? Judging from Qin Shutian's cultivation, Mu He's batch of human cauldrons wasn't of a high level. Human cauldrons of this level couldn't be used for the cultivation of the sect's disciples. Since they could join a six-star sect, they were all talented cultivators. They could easily reach the Buddha light and true spirit realm with their own efforts. Why would they use human cauldrons of the Sage King realm to break through? Qin Fen suddenly thought of the Thousand Insect Valley. He had fallen into the Celestial Gourd sect from the bottom of the Thousand Lotus Lake in the Thousand Insect Valley. Now that he thought about Mu He's actions of buying human cauldrons, he had a bold conjecture. Could it be that the Thousand Insect Valley was the place where the Celestial Gourd sect kept the spirit insects? Mu He was collecting human cauldrons for the evolution of the spirit insects? This idea was plausible, but there were many things that didn't make sense. If the Thousand Insect Valley was really a place built by the Celestial Gourd sect to raise spirit insects, why would they openly allow other cultivators to explore? Wouldn't that expose the sect's secret of raising spirit insects? Before Qin Fen could figure it out, an arrogant voice sounded. Brat, do you dare to fight to the death with me? Qin Fen looked at Mu Jingyi as if he was looking at an idiot. Are you out of your mind? Why are you so eager to die? Mu Jingyi's face was full of anger. He wasn't out of his mind. He had made this decision after careful consideration. Both sides were in a deadlock. Qin Fen refused to give in, and Elder Mu He was determined to get the human cauldron. Therefore, Mu Jingyi immediately stood up and challenged Qin Fen. He felt that he was too smart. Mu He secretly looked at Qin Fen with admiration. In fact, he had wanted to kill Qin Fen for a long time, but he knew that if he challenged Qin Fen to the death, Qin Fen would be too scared to accept the challenge. In fact, when Mu Jingyi challenged Qin Fen, Mu He was also worried. After all, Mu Jingyi had reached the peak stage of the true spirit realm, while Qin Fen was only at the early stage of the true spirit realm. Don't tell me you're scared? Are you a man? Do you have the guts? Mu Jingyi obviously realized this as well, and he immediately tried to provoke Qin Fen. Qin Shutian's face was full of worry. On the other hand, Qin Huang was calmer because he had seen Qin Fen's strength not long ago. Qin Fen killed 3 true spirit realm beast cultivators in a few moves, and one of them was even at the late stage of the true spirit realm. If I start a life and death battle here, I won't be responsible for killing people? Qin Fen needed to understand the situation first. Kirio said, Yes. Good. Then I accept your challenge. Qin Fen agreed without hesitation. Mu Jingyi was stunned. He was still racking his brains to think of a way to trick Qin Fin into accepting the challenge. He didn't expect Qin Fin to accept the challenge. Ha ha! You little ant, give me your life! When he came back to his senses, Mu Jingyi looked up to the sky and laughed wildly. In his opinion, if it wasn't for Elder Kirio blocking his sword, Qin Fin would have already been a corpse on the ground. However, the result would be the same. At most, the ant would be able to catch a few more breaths. When Mu Jingyi waved his sword, a violent wave of true essence rolled up in the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. As everyone knew, killing was prohibited within the 80-kilometer city. This sudden surge of killing intent immediately attracted the attention of the cultivators passing by. It's actually a peak true spirit realm expert. This is going to be interesting. The one who attacks seems to be a disciple of the Immortal Gourd sect. But even if he's a disciple of a 6-star sect, he will be severely punished if he dares to attack in the 80-kilometer city. You guys don't know the situation. It's those two who initiated the life and death battle. I don't know what the other cultivator is thinking. He's only in the early true spirit realm, but he dares to fight a peak true spirit realm expert. What's the difference between this and seeking death? The crowd was in a heated discussion. Many people were waiting for a good show. But suddenly, a loud explosion sounded in the hall. Before the crowd could see what was going on, a body fell into a pool of blood. It was the peak true spirit realm man. The battle is over? This is too fast. The one who died is a peak true spirit realm senior? What is going on? The other party must have hidden his cultivation. To be able to instantly kill a peak true spirit realm expert, he must be a void god realm expert. The crowd had just gathered and the battle had already ended. There were even many people running over, thinking that there would be a good show to watch. The dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm was filled with the thick smell of blood. The atmosphere was very strange. Mu He and Kirio's eyes were wide open. They were completely shocked. You killed Mu Jingyi's disciple? And you killed him instantly? Mu He mumbled to himself. Even he wasn't confident that he could kill Mu He instantly. When Kirio came back to his senses, he felt a chill run down his spine. He finally realized that Qin Feng had hidden his cultivation. The other party might even have a higher realm than him. Not long ago, he had blocked Qin Feng's path. He was simply seeking death. You dare to fight a life and death battle with such little strength? Is this the style of the Immortal Gourd sect disciple? After killing Mu Jingyi, Qin Feng didn't even bother to look at him. He didn't forget to mock the Immortal Gourd sect. Mu He was so angry that his nose became crooked. He immediately shouted at Qin Feng. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let's have a life and death battle. Do you dare? Kirito looked at Mu He in surprise. He did not expect Mu He to have such a thought. Qin Feng was able to kill Mu Jingyi with one move, so he was obviously an empty god realm cultivator. Moreover, he was most likely a middle void god realm cultivator. Mu He might die by his hand. However, Mu He didn't stand out because he was angry. He saw that Qin Feng was young and guessed that he was at most an early-stage hollow god state cultivator. The reason why Qin Feng could kill Mu Jingyi was because Mu Jingyi underestimated him. Qin Feng couldn't wait to kill more Immortal Gourd sect cultivators. Now that Mu He was asking to die, it was exactly what he wanted. However, before he could fight, a few powerful auras came from afar. Qin Feng was shocked. He couldn't see through them at all. They were at least at the body condensation state. Who dares to kill people in the 80-mile city? An old voice sounded in the sky above the dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm. Then, a bright light appeared. The light was very clear and even a bit dazzling. It was completely different from the light and mist of a hollow god state cultivator. Qin Feng was sure that the other party was at the body condensation state, or even higher. He was also a beast cultivator. His aura was different from that of a human cultivator. After this mighty demonic cultivator appeared, a few more figures appeared in the sky. All of them were mighty cultivators whose realms could not be seen through. Not only were there demonic cultivators, but there were also human cultivators and demonic cultivators. There was even a Taoist figure that seemed to exist in the sky. Qin Fen was very familiar with the aura on his body. He was undoubtedly a ghost cultivator. The people who came later didn't say anything. However, a powerful aura surged from their bodies, making it hard for everyone to breathe. Kiryo's expression changed. He said in a panic, "Protector Haichiji, it's that human cultivator who caused trouble in the dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm. He killed a peak true spirit cultivator." The light around Haichiji was too dazzling. It was impossible to see his face or his expression. However, the aura around his body skyrocketed, and a true essence whirlpool rushed towards Qin Fen. Suddenly, Qin Fen felt death approaching, and before the attack landed, he immediately shouted, "I hope that Protector Haichiji can investigate the truth first, then it won't be too late to act." Chapter 1964. That huge hand of true essence contained an incomparably violent true qi. It instantly locked Qin Fen in that space. He even felt that his divine knowledge sea was restricted, and his body was unable to move. This was definitely the embodiment of the realm. The hand stopped in midair, and the beast cultivator named Haichiji's expression changed drastically. He stared at Qin Fen in disbelief. "You're just a true spirit cultivator, and you can speak in this old man's realm?" Not only was Haichiji surprised, but the other three powerful cultivators also had surprised expressions. In fact, they all knew what Haichiji was thinking. He saw that Qin Fen was a human cultivator, so he wanted to kill Qin Fen first. He didn't expect Qin Fen to be able to speak in his realm. This kind of thing was almost impossible. But the truth was right in front of them. After a few seconds, not only could Qin Fen speak, but he also flew out of Haichiji's realm. "Senior Hai, I killed someone in the 80-mile city because that person challenged me to a life-and-death battle. In the end, I killed him. I believe Senior Hai will give me justice." Qin Fen's words cut off Haichiji's path of retreat. Everyone knew that the 80-mile city was a fair and open city. If Haichiji insisted on killing Qin Fen in front of everyone, then the prestige that the city had built up for hundreds of years would be gone. Haichiji was angry that he had been taken advantage of by a junior, but his anger was soon replaced by shock. Qin Fen actually broke his realm? How was this possible? "Kiryo, is what he said true?" the human cultivator in the sky asked. Kiryo didn't dare to speak carelessly. After all, many people had seen Mu Jingyi challenge Qin Fen, and this matter couldn't be faked. Replying to Senior Xian Hai, the celestial gourd disciple did challenge him to a life-and-death battle. Xian Hai nodded and didn't say anything else, but it was very clear what had happened. Haichiji's expression was very ugly. He had a very bad impression of Qin Fen. A true spirit cultivator actually broke his realm. How could he let such a peerless human cultivator live? However, now was not the time to make a move. Haichiji glared fiercely at Qin Fen, thoroughly memorizing his appearance and aura. Just as the four protectors were about to leave, Mu He hurriedly said, "Senior Hai, please wait. Putting aside the death of my disciple, that ant dared to steal my cultivation furnace. This is a clear violation of the rules of the 80-mile city. Senior Hai, please uphold justice." Haichiji stopped in his tracks. He wanted nothing more than to kill Qin Fen, but he lacked an excuse. Now Mu He had given him an excuse. Qin Fen also realized that this demon cultivator of the 80-mile city was dissatisfied with the human cultivators. Before the demon cultivator could make a move, Qin Fen immediately cupped his hands towards Xian Hai and said, "Senior Xian, there's an inside story regarding the cultivation cauldron. I hope Senior can uphold justice." "What secrets? Hurry up and tell us!" Xian Hai also rushed back. Haichiji secretly dispersed the Jinyuan that he had just raised, and his face was covered with a layer of frost. He could only wait for the right opportunity. Qin Fen rejoiced that he made the right bet. The four protectors of the 80-mile city all had different identities, and they were all cultivators that protected him. "Senior Xian, I spent 1,000,000 upper-level spirit stones to buy that old man, but in that person's mouth, it became robbery. He's simply slandering me. Xian Hai's expression changed instantly, and he said in a low voice, Kirio, is there such a thing? Senior Xian, this is a bit complicated. Listen to me carefully. Kirio was trembling in fear. Even a hollow god realm beast cultivator like him couldn't breathe under Xian Hai's violent chi. It could be seen that the 4 protectors of the 80-mile city all had extraordinary realms. Kirio continued. Originally, the cultivation cauldron caught the eye of Elder Mu He of the Immortal Gourd, and he had already discussed with our trading company to come pick her up in the afternoon. But then, this person suddenly rushed to the trading company and wanted to take the cultivation cauldron away. I had no choice but to tell him about the 1,000,000 deposit. The purpose was to make him back off. Before Hai Qiji could find a chance, Qin Fan immediately yelled. Which means you did take my 1,000,000 deposit. There was no way to lie about this. Kirio's face was gloomy, and he nodded helplessly. Qin Fan sneered. Ha! He only said a few words, and you said that the human cauldron was his. I gave him 1,000,000 spirit stones, but you said that I was the one who stole the human cauldron. If the protectors of the 80-mile city can't even uphold this little bit of justice, then there is no justice in this city. Qin Fan's words were too explosive. He dared to question the 4 protectors of the 80-mile city in public. Many cultivators had gathered to watch, and they all revealed shocked expressions. Hai Qiji's face was so cold that it was about to freeze, but he couldn't get angry now. Killing Qin Fan was a small matter, but losing his dignity was a big matter. Xian Hai's expression was calm, and his voice was not angry. Good, Kirio. Ever since the 80-mile city was established, it has been open to the public. You used your power to open a shop in the city to bully the weaker customers. This is a serious violation of the city's rules. I think your dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company doesn't want to continue operating. Even if you beat him to death, Kirito would never have thought that things would escalate to this point. He was only a small elder of the trading company. If the trading company was closed because of him, the president and the other elders would definitely skin him alive. Senior Xian, please calm down. Our trading company will not interfere in this matter. We will listen to Senior Xian's arrangements. After saying this, Hai Qiji's face darkened. To put it bluntly, this matter didn't need to be reasonable. It depended on who had the courage. In the end, the true spirit realm human cultivator was calm, but the nihility god realm beast cultivator, Kirio, retreated first. Elder Kirio, what do you mean by this? I reserved those cultivation cauldrons this morning, and you're going back on your word? Mu He was unhappy. He couldn't afford to lose face like this. Facing Xian Hai's power, Kirio didn't care so much. Compared to whether the trading company could continue operating in the 80-mile city, offending Mu He was nothing. At most, he would stop doing business with the Immortal Gourds in the future. Dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company didn't lack customers. Elder Mu, you only said you wanted to make a reservation, but you didn't do anything. The other party already paid 1,000,000 spirit stones, so you can only sell the cultivation cauldron to him. Kirio had a determined expression. Mu He almost fainted from anger. One of his disciples had just died, and now he was humiliated in front of everyone. How was he going to show his face in the South Pingzhou state in the future? The reputation of the Immortal Gourds would be ruined. Kirio, I'm an old customer of your trading company. How dare you give the cultivation cauldron to someone else? Aren't you afraid that I won't come to your trading company in the future? It's your business whether you come or not, but our dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company has always followed the rules of the 80-mile city. There's no need to talk about that cultivation cauldron. As for the other 20 or so cultivation cauldrons, we can continue to trade with you. Mu He. Chapter 1965. Mu He finally understood the situation. There was no need to talk about friendship in the Divine Supreme Continent. In front of absolute strength, friendship was nothing. Kirio was obviously afraid of Xian Hai, and directly sold him out. Everything was clear now. Qin Fen was the one in the right, and Mu He was being unreasonable. Since everything is clear now, give the cauldron to this young cultivator. If anyone has any objections, you can tell me. Xian Hai's words sounded like a negotiation, but his tone was very domineering. Even if Mu He was very unwilling, he didn't dare to offend Xian Hai's dignity. He couldn't see through Xian Hai's realm, and he was afraid that Xian Hai could kill him with one palm. The dominating furnace trading firm has no reason to do so. Our deal with that person is complete, and the cauldron belongs to him, Kirio quickly said. Qin Fen heaved a sigh of relief. It wasn't just Earth that was full of schemes. The divine supreme continent was also full of sinister and cunning people. Fortunately, he was aware of these problems in advance, which was why he gave Kirio 1,000,000 spiritual stones. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to save his grandfather and would have died. Seeing that the matter was settled, Hai Qiji coldly snorted and disappeared into the sky. The other two protectors also left. Xian Hai gave Qin Fen a meaningful look. Before leaving, he said, I have time in the next few days. If you have time, come to the Autumn Leaf Pavilion to find me. After the four protectors left, the fierce True Yuan and the surroundings quickly dissipated. The oppressive atmosphere also disappeared. The crowd that was watching the show suddenly woke up. Many people looked at Qin Fen with envy. Rumor had it that the four protectors of the 80-mile city were all cauldron-filling realm experts. They rarely showed themselves, but Senior Xian Hai showed up this time and even invited Qin Fen as a guest. Humph! This old man will remember you. Don't let me see you outside the 80-mile city. Otherwise, it will be the day of your death. Mu He didn't have the face to stay. He coldly snorted and left, not even taking the other cauldrons. After the four protectors left, Kirio's cold expression returned. He glared at Qin Fen with a murderous expression. If this guy didn't trick him, he wouldn't have offended Elder Mu He. Even if the dominating furnace trading firm wasn't afraid of a 6-star sect, no one would want to offend a 6-star sect for no reason. Let's leave this place first. Qin Fen suppressed the joy in his heart. This time, he didn't come to Tsang Island in vain. Even if he couldn't find the treasure map that Aka gave him, he was satisfied that he was able to find his father and grandfather. Kirito could only watch helplessly as Qin Fen and the other two left. The cold glint in his eyes seemed to be about to freeze. But at this moment, a violent aura surged in the hall. When this aura appeared, Kirito's expression immediately tensed up. Kirin greets senior apprentice brother Himan. Unknowingly, a bright light shadow appeared in the air above the hall. It was the sign of someone who had surpassed the empty god realm. That figure was shrouded in dazzling light, and it was impossible to see his face clearly. A cold voice rang out. Humph! You can't even deal with a mere true spirit realm human cultivator. You've really lost the face of our dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. The president and the elders are very dissatisfied with your performance, so they sent me to help you deal with that brat. Kirito trembled in fear. He already knew that this matter would cause the upper echelons of the trading company to be angry, but he didn't think that they would send people over so quickly. In the next moment, Kirito felt a chill down his spine. He even suspected that the president might be nearby. But because the four protectors of the 80-mile city jumped out, the president and the others couldn't show themselves. Thinking of this, he knelt on the ground with a plop and began to kowtow in various directions. Lord President, this is my mistake. I hope that Lord President can forgive this lowly one. This lowly one definitely won't let that human cultivator go. I want him to know the consequences of offending the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. Seeing Kirito kowtow with all his might, Himan coldly said, Enough, don't plead for leniency. Lord President is busy in seclusion and doesn't have time to care about other people's business. However, the Vice President already knows about this matter. Now, take me to that human cultivator. As long as he dares to leave the 80-mile city, I will take his dog life. Fomer, I really didn't think that I would be able to see you again. Grandfather is too excited. Dad, Fonger, the people of the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company definitely won't let this go. We have to leave this place as soon as possible. After the three of them left the trading company, Qin Feng immediately booked a room in an inn in the 80-mile city. Qin Shitian was still unable to calm down from the joy of reuniting, but Qin Huang was a bit worried. Grandfather, eat these bottles of pills first, and then rest for a while. As for leaving the 80-mile city, there is no need to rush. Qin Feng maintained a calm mind. Qin Huang hurriedly said, Fenger, I know you are dissatisfied with the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company, but we are still not their match. That beast cultivator called Kirito is only a small elder of the trading company. It is said that the great elders of the trading company have all stepped into the body condensation realm, and the president's strength is unfathomable. Qin Feng patted his father's shoulder and said with a smile, Dad, you misunderstood me. Of course I know how powerful that trading company is, so we can't leave the 80-mile city right now. At the very least, we have to find an opportunity to escape. Qin Huang was a bit puzzled, but Qin Shitian understood the situation after calming down. Fenger is right. Killing is not allowed in the 80-mile city, so it has become our protective umbrella. If we leave the 80-mile city, I believe we will be killed as soon as we get out. Qin Huang suddenly came to his senses. Right. The dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company must have sent people to keep an eye on us, so we can't leave now. Qin Feng didn't have to explain himself when his father and grandfather realized the root of the problem. In fact, even if he didn't offend the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company, Qin Feng still planned to stay in the 80-mile city for a few more days. First, he wanted to look around the shops, and second, he wanted to find Xian Hai. Since Xian Hai was willing to speak up for him, it meant that this senior had no evil intentions towards him. After coming to the Divine Continent, Qin Huang and Qin Shitian were so happy for the first time. The reason they came here from the martial arts world outside of China was to find Qin Feng, and now they finally found him. Qin Feng let the two of them rest in the room while he arranged a 5th-grade defensive formation and a 5th-grade killing formation. Only then did he leave the inn with a peace of mind. Qin Feng swaggered along the bustling streets of the 80-mile city, not trying to hide his footsteps, as if nothing had happened. Soon, he felt a few divine senses sweeping toward him. These people had different cultivation levels, ranging from Buddha light to void god realm. Kirito's aura was also among them. Chapter 1966. After discovering that he was being followed, Qin Feng began to wander aimlessly within the 80-kilometer radius of the city. He even purposely went to relatively remote places with fewer people. However, no matter where he went, as long as he was within the 80-kilometer radius of the city, Kiryu and the others didn't dare to make a move against him. Realizing that he was absolutely safe in the 80-mile city, Qin Feng didn't care about the people from the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. He even used his divine sense to send a message to Kiryu, purposely saying some infuriating words. Is your dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company a bunch of wild dogs? Why are you following this grandpa around? If you want to make a move, then come. Don't just follow like a turtle. When these words fell into the ears of Kiryu and the others, they were so angry that they almost went berserk. But after the anger, Hai Ming revealed a shocked expression. He was a body condensation realm cultivator, so how could a true spirit cultivator send him a message? As for Kiryu, he realized that the message he sent to Mu He and the trading company had all been heard by Qin Feng. At that time, he felt that Mu He had tricked Qin Feng, but now he knew that they had been tricked by Qin Feng. What is this guy's cultivation? Why can he send us a message? Hai Ming sent a message to Kiryu. Before Kiryu could reply, he heard Qin Feng's arrogant voice. You don't need to be suspicious. This grandpa is just a true spirit cultivator. You have a void god realm and a body condensation realm cultivator, but your divine sense is so weak. Are all y'all cultivators so weak? Ayaya! You're really pissing me off. What else can an ant like you do besides having a glib tongue? If you have the ability, then fight with this old man. Do you dare? Hai Ming forgot that Qin Feng could hear his message, and he almost fainted from anger. Kirio chose to shut up because he had experienced Qin Feng's sharp tongue. He started to pray for Elder Hai Ming. I'm not a violent Yao cultivator. I don't like to casually fight and kill. Moreover, fighting is forbidden in the 80-kilometer city. You want to trick me with the intelligence of a 3-year-old? Qin Feng's voice was smug. Hai Ming's face darkened and he shouted in a low voice. Grandson Ant, do you dare accept this old man's life and death battle? If you don't dare, then you're a turtle. You really know how to pick people to fight. Why don't you challenge Senior Xian Hai to a death match? Was it fun to bully a junior? I guarantee that as long as you challenge Senior Xian Hai, I will immediately accept your challenge to a death match. If you don't dare, then you're a coward. Hai Ming was a body condensation state supreme being, but he felt like his brain was running out of blood. It was impossible for him to challenge Xian Hai. Xian Hai was a cauldron-filling state supreme being. A body condensation state beast cultivator like him would be courting death if he challenged him. Not to mention him, no one had ever challenged Xian Hai in the hundreds of years since the establishment of the 80-mile city. When Hai Ming was almost angered to death, he finally realized how vicious Qin Feng's tongue was. He immediately shut his mouth and stopped talking. He even understood why Kirito didn't help him fight. However, just because they retreated, it didn't mean that Qin Fen would stop. Along the way, Qin Fen kept on talking. Several times, the cultivators of the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company began to doubt their lives. Several Buddha Light Boundary Demon cultivators directly vomited blood and suffered internal injuries because of their unstable state of mind. However, these demon cultivators had enough perseverance. Even after being scolded by Qin Fen, they still followed behind him. Qin Fen realized that the people of the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company couldn't be scolded away, so he didn't bother with them anymore. Coincidentally, he passed by a store called All Complete Trading Company and walked in. This store was huge and of a much higher grade than the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. There were many cultivators in the store, walking around the dazzling display of goods. Qin Fen quickly understood. The dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company was a store that specialized in furnaces, and this all-complete trading company sold all kinds of cultivation resources, from crystals to pills and weapons, as well as materials for forging formations and treasures. Sir, what do you need? An extremely flirtatious young woman walked over. She had the unique aura of a beast cultivator. Qin Fen realized that this all-complete trading company was also opened by a beast cultivator. Just as he was about to leave, his eyes swept over a row of display cabinets in the corner of the room. They were filled with all kinds of beautiful crystals. In fact, Qin Fen had a good understanding of crystals. Whether it was spirit stones, fire spirit stones, spirit crystals, or even soul crystals, he had them all. However, this was the first time he saw the colorful crystals on the display cabinets. When he swept them with his divine sense, he could feel a strange energy fluctuation. I want to buy some crystals. Qin Fen's eyes swept over the row of cabinets. The flirtatious young woman immediately understood and led him over with a smile. Sir, we have all kinds of crystals from the sea. That row of cabinets mainly sells sea heart stones. The price is the lowest in the entire 80-mile city. Sir can choose without worry. Only then did Qin Fen know that these colorful stones were called sea heart stones. He also understood why he had never seen these crystals before. It was because sea heart stones were crystals found in the fallen god sea. Aside from the demonic cultivators living on the islands, it was very difficult for human cultivators to find these stones. He immediately thought of the large amount of sea heart stones needed to forge the immortal artifact Heaven Rainbow. Now that he had collected the immortal flower stones, the feathers of the level 8 spirit bird 1000-year bird, and the radiant stone, he could buy some more sea heart stones and many other materials he already had. The day of Heaven Rainbow was getting closer and closer. How much are these sea heart stones? Qin Fen asked. Sir, 100 high-grade spirit stones can buy 1 sea heart stone. If you buy more, I can apply for a discount from the elder. Sea heart stone was one of the main materials to forge Heaven Rainbow. The refining process needed to melt a lot of sea heart stones and then extract the purest crystal, so Qin Fen needed a lot. If I buy 100,000 sea heart stones, what's the price? Qin Fen asked casually. The flirtatious young woman immediately revealed a look of surprise. Originally, she saw that Qin Fen was only a true spirit cultivator and didn't look like a rich person. She didn't expect him to ask for such a big business. Young hero, please wait a moment. I'll go find the elder. You can talk to him directly, the young woman said and immediately disappeared. Qin Fen wasn't in a hurry. He walked around other places but didn't find the treasures he wanted. The people from the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company were still following behind. Although both sides couldn't do anything, there were still a few stray dogs following, which affected Qin Fen's mood. Young hero, is it you who wants to buy 100,000 sea heart stones? After a while, a beast cultivator who looked like a small old man walked over. He had a pair of horns on his head. Qin Fen didn't know if it was because he failed to transform, or he deliberately left this appearance. Chapter 1967. I plan to buy 100,000 sea heart stones in one go. Can you sell them? What's the price? Qin Fen cupped his fists. The horned old man's eyes flashed with joy, and he said gently, Our Wanquan Trading Company has 100,000 sea heart stones. Young hero, you look unfamiliar, so it should be your first time here. Then I'll sell this business to you at a loss, and treat it as making you my friend. How about this? I'll give you a 20% discount. The nervousness in the little old man's eyes did not escape Qin Fen's eyes. According to the 20% discount, 100,000 sea heart stones were equivalent to 8 million high-grade spirit stones. This amount of spirit stones was an astronomical figure for ordinary cultivators, but it was nothing to Qin Fen. However, he wasn't someone who would take a loss. Seeing that the other party clearly had room for negotiation, he naturally wouldn't offer 8 million. All right. I'll go look around somewhere else. Qin Fen turned and left. The old man and the seductive female employee were stunned. The old man hurriedly shouted, Young hero, don't be in a hurry to leave. I'm the little elder of this trading company, Ji Bei. May I know young hero's name? Qin Feng's expression was indifferent, but he was secretly happy. He knew he guessed correctly. Junior Qin Fen, is there anything else Elder Ji needs? Ji Bei chuckled. Young hero Qin, there's no need to look elsewhere. I, Ji Bei, can assure you that in the entire 80 miles, our Wanquan Trading Company has the highest quality sea heart stones. Our president personally found them in the heart of the fallen god sea. Qin Fen didn't believe Ji Bei. When he was in the North Sand Continent, he went to the outer islands of the fallen god sea. The beasts there were already level 5 and 6. The Dragon Rise Trading Company's airship even encountered a level 7 horned sea beast. If he went deeper, even level 8 and 9 beasts were common. Even if the Wanquan Trading Company was established by a Yao cultivator, the president couldn't possibly cross the heart of the fallen god sea. It's not the quality of the sea heart stone. Qin Fen thought for a while and turned to leave. Forget it, I'll go look elsewhere. Ji Bei panicked. He knew Qin Fen wasn't satisfied with the price. Young hero Qin, if it's the price, we can negotiate. Qin Fen stopped. Oh? Senior Ji, please state your lowest price. I'm a straightforward person. If it's the price I want, I'll buy it. If it's not, I'll look elsewhere. 30% off. Just as Ji Bei said this, he immediately added, Forget it, I said that I just wanted to make friends with young hero Qin. I'll give you a 40% discount. This price is already the lowest I can offer. Even if you find the great elder or even the president of my guild, I can only give you this price. This time, Ji Bei's expression was solemn, without a trace of nervousness or obscurity. Qin Fen realized that a 40% discount was indeed Ji Bei's bottom line, and this price was out of his expectations. He originally thought that Ji Bei would give a 30% discount at most. He didn't think that in the time it took to say a few words, he would save 2 million spirit stones. All right. Since Senior Ji is so straightforward, then I, Qin Feng, am not a pretentious person. I will only discuss this deal with your esteemed bank. Ji Bei was overjoyed. Although a 40% discount wouldn't make much money, if he could make friends with a nouveau riche like Qin Feng, he wouldn't have to worry about not having money in the future. However, before he could finish being happy, Qin Feng's expression changed, and he said gravely, "But before we do business, I have a request. If your esteemed bank can't do it, then I'll have to reconsider this deal." Ji Bei didn't understand. "Young hero Qin, please speak. If I can do it, I definitely won't say no." Qin Feng used his divine sense to sweep over Kilio and the others, and said coldly, "Those are my enemies. I don't want to see them, or else I won't even be in the mood to talk business." Ji Bei immediately understood. Because there were frequent arguments between cultivators in the 80-kilometer city, and because fighting wasn't allowed here, some cultivators would follow their enemies and wait for them to leave the 80-kilometer city before making a move. When he swept over with his divine sense, Ji Bei let out a sigh of relief. He knew two of them. They were the two elders of the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. However, the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company paled in comparison to the All-Complete Trading Company. Ji Bei didn't put Kilio and Hai Meng in his eyes at all. "Young hero Qin, don't worry. Since you are our esteemed guest, we will naturally let you have peace and quiet when we talk business. There won't be any small fries coming to disturb us," Ji Bei promised, and then walked towards a nearby hall. Qin Feng followed and let out a sigh of relief. He knew that he guessed right. This all-complete trading company was much more powerful than the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. Otherwise, Ji Bei, who was at the middle stage of the Nihility God realm, wouldn't dare to confront Hai Meng, who was at the body condensation realm. "Elder Ji! How have you been?" When Ji Bei walked closer, Hai Meng immediately cupped his hands and greeted him. He was a mighty body condensation realm cultivator, but he was so polite to a Nihility God realm cultivator. "Hung! If you weren't here, I would definitely be in a good mood." Ji Bei's face was cold. Hai Meng and Kirio were confused. Usually, they would greet each other politely, but what was wrong with this Ji Bei today? "Elder Ji, your business is getting bigger and bigger. Your business is booming all the time." Hai Meng continued to say nice things. There was a saying that one shouldn't hit a smiling person. However, this trick didn't work today. What welcomed him was a cold sneer from Ji Bei. Why does my business need your concern? If you have nothing to do, then go back to your own company." Hai Meng rolled his eyes and almost attacked him. Kirio quickly put on a smile and tried to smooth things over. "Senior Ji, Elder Hai, and I just happened to pass by here. If Senior Ji is busy, then you don't have to entertain us." Entertain you? You didn't go mad in your cultivation, right? Why don't you look at your status? Do I need to entertain you?" Kirio. Hai Meng couldn't take it anymore. Although the dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm couldn't compare to the All Trading firm, he was still a body condensation state supreme being. In terms of cultivation, he could be considered a senior in North G. This old man must be looking for trouble. "Ji Bei, what do you mean?" Hai Meng's face darkened. "What do I mean? Is your IQ so low? Can't you read people's expressions? I don't welcome you here. Hurry up and leave." Ji Bei's attitude was tough. At this time, many customers had come over and started discussing. "Aren't those two elders of dominating Furnace Trading Company? Why are they arguing with the elder of Wanquan Trading Company? They're not arguing with Elder Ji, but Elder Ji wants to chase them away. I'm guessing that the two trading companies are fighting because of competition. Dominating Furnace Trading Company is just a small trading company that sells furnaces. How dare they cause trouble at Wanquan Trading Company? Are these two fellows here to court death? It's also because the city forbids fighting. Otherwise, the Grand Elder of the All-Knowing Trading Company would have come out long ago. I heard that a few of the Grand Elders of the All-Knowing Trading Company are Cauldron Filling State, and the President is Disaster Transformation State. When Kirio and Hai Meng heard the discussion, they were so angry that their necks turned red. Qin Feng was shocked. He didn't expect the trading companies in the 80-kilometer city to be so powerful. There was even a disaster transformation state president here? This was already comparable to the top 4 7-star sects of the South Flat Continent. It might even surpass them. Seeing that everyone was optimistic about Wanquan Trading Company, Ji Bei was proud but said coldly, "I'm warning you one last time, leave immediately. Don't affect the mood of our customers." When he said this, he glanced at Qin Feng. Kirio and Hai Meng were enlightened. "Ji Bei, you actually chased your own people away for a human cultivator. Hai Meng, will remember this in my heart." His voice was still echoing in the room, but Hai Meng had already disappeared. Kirio then reacted and ran away in fright. At the same time, he cursed Hai Meng for being immoral and not reminding him before leaving. After seeing the people of dominating Furnace Trading Company leave, Ji Bei heaved a sigh of relief. If it wasn't for the deal with Qin Feng, he definitely wouldn't defend dominating Furnace Trading Company for no reason. Even if Wanquan Trading Company wasn't afraid of them, there was no need to make enemies for no reason. Moreover, Hai Meng was a body condensation state senior. Ji Bei looked calm, but he was on guard. He was afraid that Hai Meng would attack him in anger. After the group of wild dogs left, Qin Feng was in a good mood. He successfully completed the deal with Ji Bei. When he put the 100,000 sea heart stones into his storage ring, Qin Feng was extremely excited. These crystals were very difficult for human cultivators to obtain. If he hadn't come to the 80-kilometer city, he wouldn't have been able to collect so many sea heart stones even if he spent 10 million high-grade spirit stones. "Young hero Qin, if you're not in a hurry to leave, you can stay and participate in our auction." After the deal, Qin Feng planned to leave but was stopped by Ji Bei. "Auction? Are there a lot of treasures to be auctioned?" Qin Feng was slightly more spirited. He still lacked a few materials to make heaven rainbow. Ji Bei saw that Qin Feng didn't even blink when he took out 6 million high-grade spirit stones. He knew that Qin Feng was rich. He immediately explained enthusiastically, "Young hero Qin, I'm afraid this is your first time in the 80-kilometer city. You came at the right time. Our company is one of the 3 big trading companies in the 80-kilometer city. The 80-kilometer city holds a large-scale auction every year. All the big trading companies will jointly display their treasures. This year's auction is in 3 days." Qin Feng didn't expect his luck to be so good. He originally planned to visit Senior Xian Hai and then leave the 80-kilometer city. After knowing that there was a large-scale auction, he wanted to stay a few more days. "All right. I'll come find Elder Ji then." Because of the sudden change of plans, Qin Feng planned to visit Senior Xian Hai after leaving Wanquan Trading Company. Then, he would attend the auction in 3 days. Once the auction ended, he would leave with his father and grandfather. Xian Hai said that he lived at the Autumn Leaf Pavilion. The Autumn Leaf Pavilion was a very famous spirit building in the 80-kilometer city. Qin Feng casually asked a few people on the way and arrived at the place. The Autumn Leaf Pavilion was built on a mountain peak that reached the clouds. When Qin Feng stood at the foot of the mountain and looked up, he felt that the spirit building was floating in the clouds, giving off an illusory feeling. Chapter 1968. Just as Qin Feng was about to fly up the mountain, he realized that there was a flight restriction formation around the mountain. Normal people couldn't fly up unless they walked. This mountain range was majestic and towering. If one were to walk alone, it was unknown how long it would take to reach the peak. "Young hero Qin is here. Come in through the formation door." Just as Qin Feng was fretting, Xian Hai's voice came from the mountain. A white formation door appeared at the foot of the mountain. When Qin Feng stepped into the formation door, he was transported to the top of the mountain. Don't underestimate this short transportation time, but it proved that this towering mountain was taller than Qin Feng had imagined. Even a rank 6 Earth escape talisman could transport people thousands of miles in a second. The transportation formation just now was also a rank 6 one, and its effect was many times better than a rank 6 Earth Escape talisman. The spiritual energy at the top of the mountain was thick, and the field was huge. One couldn't see the end. The autumn leaf pavilion stood on the plain, and stood out among the herb gardens. When Qin Feng saw the 4 boundless herb gardens, he was stunned. There were hundreds of types of spiritual herbs in the 4 herb gardens. There were many rank 4 and rank 5 spiritual herbs. There were also quite a few rank 6 and rank 7 spiritual herbs. There were even a dozen rank 8 spiritual herbs and a few rank 9 spiritual herbs. As a rank 5 rank 7 pill king, Qin Feng couldn't resist the temptation of spirit herbs. When he saw the rank 9 spirit herbs, he reached out without thinking. But before he could get close to the small herb garden, a strange energy wave quickly spread over. Qin Feng's footsteps suddenly stopped. His body was still in a running state, like a movie that had been paused. "This is a boundary?" Qin Feng's expression was serious. He immediately realized that he was trapped by a boundary. Not only could he not move, but he could also speak with difficulty. This sudden boundary seemed to be even stronger than Hai Qiji's boundary. Or, when Hai Qiji fought Qin Feng, he didn't even use his full power. The boundary he used was just a casual move, but no matter what, the opponent in front of him didn't even show his face, and used the boundary to trap Qin Feng. Other than Xian Hai, who else in the Autumn Leaf Pavilion could have such a powerful technique? "Senior Xian Hai, what do you mean?" Qin Feng was confused. No one spoke, but a faint aura of death exploded and shot out in the boundary. It was a streak of sword chi, like a rainbow piercing through the clouds. Cold sweat immediately broke out on Qin Feng's back. He couldn't move in this area. If he was hit by the ferocious sword chi, his entire body would probably explode into pieces. Break! At the moment of life and death, Qin Feng could no longer care so much. He fully erupted his divine sense, forming a new domain around him. When his own domain was formed, Qin Feng finally regained his ability to move. He quickly moved sideways, and the sword chi flew past his hair. "Senior Xian Hai, what are you trying to do?" Qin Feng's expression turned cold. He had initially respected Xian Hai, but now that he had been attacked out of nowhere, and had almost lost his life, his good impression of Xian Hai had disappeared. Xian Hai was still nowhere to be seen, and the realm that enveloped Qin Feng suddenly changed. The change was very strange, as if it was a new realm created by another person. When the environment changed drastically, Qin Feng's boundary instantly lost its effect. He felt his body stiffen again, and even simple walking became extremely difficult. Swoosh! This time, 2 streaks of sword chi flew at him at the same time. They were even fiercer than before. While Qin Feng could still move, he took out imprisonment and slashed down without thinking. Dense black light appeared, quickly filling up the space around Qin Feng. With the help of imprisonment, Qin Feng's boundary became much stronger. His body regained its freedom, and he immediately rushed towards the Autumn Leaf Pavilion. He slashed through the air and opened up a crack in the opponent's boundary. Rumble! Loud sounds rang out. The air seemed to crack open, and through the crack, Qin Feng could see Xian Hai floating in the air on the other side. Qin Feng was instantly filled with anger. Without thinking, he rushed towards the crack. Xian Hai put his hands together, and the crack quickly closed. Bang, bang, bang! A loud sound exploded behind Qin Feng. When he looked back, his expression changed. He didn't know when, but the space around his boundary had cracked. Those cracks quickly formed a black hole that seemed to be able to swallow everything. With Qin Feng at the center, the black hole surrounded him from all directions. Qin Feng immediately used his divine sense to cast the boundary again and repair the damaged space. This process didn't last long. Qin Feng felt a sharp pain in his divine sense. It wasn't that his divine sense had been attacked, but that he had used the boundary continuously. It was too much for him. This was the first time Qin Feng felt the strong divine sense needed to cast the boundary. In the past, he only needed to cast the boundary once to easily kill his enemies. Now, after casting it 5 or 6 times, he felt like he was about to collapse. When the boundary that he had painstakingly repaired was easily broken again, Qianfen felt despair. Even if his divine sense was dozens of times stronger than cultivators at the same level, and even surpassed many late-stage Void God Realm cultivators, it was nothing before a powerful cultivator who was rumored to be in the cauldron-filling realm. Qianfen gave up resisting. He planned to escape to the Star World. This way, he could save his life. However, the secret of the Star World might be discovered by Xianhai. What about his father and grandfather? Just as he was thinking, the collapsing space suddenly disappeared. In front of him was a fairyland surrounded by clouds and mist. There was a boundless plain on the top of the mountain and 4 alluring herb gardens. It was as if the moment of death was just an illusion. Xianhai floated in the air in front of Qianfen. You are indeed only at true spirit realm level 9, but you have comprehended boundary to the peak of minor success. This is a miracle in the South Flat Continent. Qianfen was wary of Xianhai. He just stared at him and didn't reply. Xianhai laughed bitterly. Hee hee. Don't be nervous. I just wanted to test the level of your boundary. If I really wanted to kill you, I could do it at any time. You wouldn't be able to resist at all. Although these words weren't pleasant to hear, they were all true. Qianfen came to his senses. Although the battle seemed dangerous, Xianhai had purposely let him win. Otherwise, in front of a cauldron-filling realm cultivator, even he would be killed instantly. Junior has wronged Senior Xianhai. Qianfen cupped his hands and said. Xianhai laughed. This isn't your fault. This old man was too abrupt. When I saw that you could use boundary in the Human Cauldron Trading Company, I guessed that you used a concealment technique to hide your cultivation level. I didn't expect to find out that you are a true spirit cultivator. However, your boundary has already reached the peak of minor success. Based on this, you probably comprehended the existence of boundary when you were in the middle stage of true spirit realm. This is simply unbelievable. Chapter 1969. It was unheard of for someone at the early stage of true spirit to comprehend a realm in the South Flat Continent. Even Xianhai had only touched the boundary of realm when he had just stepped into the Hollow God realm, and he was already one of the best in his generation. While Xianhai was shocked, Qianfen was also amazed at his realm. After the previous fight, Qianfen had experienced the power of Xianhai's realm. It was definitely at the advanced stage of realm. It was as if he could form a realm with just a thought, and could even change the laws of the realm. Especially when their realms overlapped, it produced a space that collapsed. The black hole-like space had a powerful devouring effect. So what if you have the cultivation of a virtual god of the true spirit? If you fell into such a space crack, you wouldn't even know how you died. Not only was Qianfen afraid, but he was also extremely envious of the technique that could create space cracks. Only now did he truly understand how powerful a cauldron-filling state expert was. The techniques they used were far beyond Qianfen's. Senior Xian, have you reached the advanced stage of your realm? Can you give me some pointers? Qianfen couldn't help but ask. Xianhai was dazed at first before laughing. Ha! I didn't just use realm, I used field. It was the first time Qianfen had heard of field, but he knew that field was something even higher than realm. Xianhai continued. Normally, when one reaches the Hollow God realm, some cultivators can touch the boundary of realm. When they reach body condensation, they can reach the initial or advanced stage of realm. When they step into cauldron-filling state, they can touch the existence of field. Simply put, realm is a self-formed area that can temporarily restrict enemies. Field is the strengthened version of realm. Not only can it form a realm, but it can also change the magnetic field in the realm at any time. It can even cause space to collapse and create a destructive black hole attack. The reason why I used field against you was to see your cultivation. It seems that you really don't know about the field. You are still a true spirit cultivator. After Xianhai's explanation, Qianfen had a basic understanding of field. He realized that realm was only a temporary self-formed area. As for the magnetic field in the realm, it wouldn't change at all. On the other hand, Field was able to change the magnetic field in the realm at will, forming an unpredictable realm space. These two techniques look similar, but they were very different. At the very least, Qin Feng was very clear that if he wanted to comprehend them, he would need a very long time to ponder and comprehend them. You are the most talented cultivator among the juniors I have ever seen. I really want to give you some pointers and help you touch the edge of the field. However, such things can only be comprehended by yourself. If we could use language teaching, everyone in the South Pingzhou state would be able to use the field, but you don't have to worry. Since you can touch the realm at the early stage of true spirit, I believe that when you reach the hollow god stage or the body condensation stage, you will be able to understand the existence of the field. Xianhai said some words of encouragement and comfort. Qin Feng nodded. He also knew that things like realms couldn't be expressed in words. If you hadn't come into contact with those things, it would be difficult for you to understand no matter how much others said. Perhaps one day, your eyes would suddenly light up, and you would understand many things without saying them. Qin Feng, the reason why I called you over is not just to test your cultivation. There is also a very important matter that will help you understand the field. Xianhai spoke again. Qin Feng immediately became spirited. After he saw the power of the field, he couldn't wait to learn it. He even thought that once he understood the field, even if he was at true spirit realm, he wouldn't be afraid of body condensation stage experts. Senior Xian, please speak. Have you heard of Grey Island's Sword Peak? Qin Feng really didn't know about Sword Peak. He didn't understand Grey Island at all. He only knew that Grey Island was divided into the 3 northern islands, Nanming Temple, and East Dragon Palace after meeting his father not long ago. Seeing Qin Feng shake his head, Xianhai explained. Grey Island has 3 main areas, the 3 northern islands, Nanming Temple, and East Dragon Palace. However, there is a place called Sword Peak. That place is even more famous than the 3 main islands. Why? Is the Sword Peak very big? Qin Feng asked. Xianhai smiled and shook his head. The Sword Peak isn't big at all. It's just a mountain that reaches the clouds and looks like a sharp sword pointing at the sky. That's why it is called Sword Peak. Qin Feng was even more confused. How could a mountain be more famous than the 3 main areas like Nanming Temple? Before he could ask, Xianhai continued. The reason the Sword Peak is famous on Grey Island is because of the Sword Realm. There is an ancient formation hidden in that mountain. The formation has 9 layers and each layer has a sword formation. Everyone calls it the Sword Realm. The Sword Realm opens once a year for 1 month. Every time it opens, many cultivators will come from afar to train. However, until now, no cultivator has been able to pass through the 9 layers of the sword formation. However, as long as one can step into the 5th layer of the sword formation, they will be able to obtain a heavenly enlightenment. Senior Xian wants me to train in the Sword Realm? Are there any requirements to enter the Sword Realm? Qin Feng was slightly excited. Xianhai nodded. That's right. I called you here mainly for the Sword Realm. There are no other requirements to enter the Sword Realm except that you must be a cultivator younger than 100 years old. Qin Feng was confused. There are trillions of cultivators in the South Flat Continent. Cultivators younger than 100 years old can be seen everywhere. Why did Senior Xian specifically come to me? Hee. Qin Feng, you don't know this. There are dangers in the Sword Realm. Each layer of the sword formation contains killing intent. Many Hollow God Realm cultivators have died in there. To other cultivators, the Sword Realm is a treasure land for training. However, in the eyes of the 4 protectors of the 80-mile city, it's a battle for resources and power every year. Qin Feng did not quite understand, so Xianhai explained in more detail. 80-mile city has been open to the public for hundreds of years. However, this fairness and justice is only what people see on the surface. In fact, the few guardians and the elders under us are always fighting against each other. Qin Feng could feel this. Not long ago, Protector Hai Qiji had been leaning towards the Yao cultivators while Senior Xianhai was leaning towards him. In order to let cultivators of the same kind have more convenience and resources, we four protectors decided to use the results of the Sword Realm as the main judge for the distribution of power next year. When the Sword Realm opens, each of us will send a contestant to enter. The contestant with the better result will get more power. This will directly affect the development of cultivators of the same kind in the 80-mile city. This time, Qin Feng understood. The 80-mile city seemed to have all kinds of cultivators living in peace on the outside, but in reality, there were many signs of mutual rejection and suppression. The 80-mile city was a famous city on the outskirts of Tseng Island. Countless cultivators came here to buy resources every year. If Xian Hai's power weakened year by year, human cultivators would probably not dare to come to the 80-mile city in the future. Chapter 1970. Although he understood the Sword Realm and the agreement between Xian Hai and the other three protectors, Qin Fen still didn't understand why Xian Hai was looking for him. Suiming La dream Xiao Sha Suiming La. There are many human cultivators under 100 years old in the South Flat Continent. There are many Hollow God Realm cultivators, and there might even be body condensation stage powerhouses. Why did Senior Xian ask me to participate? Qin Fen asked. Xian Hai laughed bitterly. Ha ha! Young hero Qin, you still don't understand the Sword Realm. It tests a cultivator's understanding of realm and field. It doesn't mean that the higher your cultivation, the longer you can last inside. Qin Fen understood. Senior Xian is interested in my realm initial success? Xian Hai nodded. That's right. There are body condensation stage cultivators under 100 years old in the South Flat Continent, and there are countless Hollow God Realm powerhouses. However, there are only a handful of geniuses who can reach realm initial success. I'm afraid you're the only one who can comprehend realm initial success. In the past few years, the contestants I sent were always third or fourth place. If I can't get first place this year, the city's requirements for human cultivators will become stricter and stricter. Qin Fen was very impressed by Xian Hai's thinking. As a senior, he was a true role model. This kind of selfless powerhouse was very rare in the Divine Supreme Continent. Qin Fen couldn't help but think of the barefoot enlightened being. Qin Fen had no reason to reject Xian Hai. As a fellow human cultivator, he too wanted to help his companions fight for more cultivation resources and benefits. Moreover, after witnessing the power of this place, he couldn't wait to get in touch with the beings who were present. In the end, Qin Fen agreed to meet Xian Hai at the Sword Peak in a month when the Sword Realm opened. He didn't choose to go with Xian Hai because he was afraid that his secrets about the system would be discovered. Secondly, he had offended Dominating Furnace Trading Company and Celestial Calabash Elder Muhi. He believed that once he left the city, he would be hunted down by these two factions. However, he didn't care about them and planned to deal with them secretly. After leaving the Autumn Leaf Pavilion, Qin Fen immediately rushed back to the inn. Before leaving, Xian Hai wanted to give him some cultivation resources, but Qin Fen rejected it. Right now, Qin Fen didn't lack cultivation resources. He didn't lack spirit stones, or spirit crystals. He even had 3 spirit essence ponds and 3 spirit veins in the astral world. After a simple greeting to his father and grandfather, Qin Feng entered his private bedroom and went into closed-door cultivation. He set up a shielding formation, a level 5 trap formation, and a level 5 defense formation in the room. Only then did he enter the astral world with peace of mind. The current star boundary was no longer the same as it was in the past. The 3 spirit veins flowed in a crisscrossing manner, and the surroundings of the tall tree of life were still shrouded in moonlight. As long as it was a plant that grew under the light, it would be very lush. There were many spirit herbs in the herb garden, and many of them had bloomed and bore fruit. The clear spirit grass was the main ingredient for refining the spirit charging pill, and the clear spirit grass was very rare on the continent. Most of them grew on the islands around the God Fall Sea. Qin Fen didn't lack spirit stones and spirit pills. What he lacked the most was time. If he had 8 to 10 years, he was confident he could reach the cauldron-filling realm. But he couldn't wait that long. Even if he could wait, his women and family couldn't. This time, Qinfen wanted to use less than 3 days to break through to the Hollow God realm. Although the Hollow God realm was only one step away from the peak of the true spirit realm, the difference was like heaven and earth. He had killed the peak of the Hollow God realm, but he didn't have the confidence to kill a body condensation realm cultivator. But if he reached the Hollow God realm, he might not be able to. Breaking through to the Hollow God realm in 3 days? If the cultivators of the South Flat Continent knew about this, they would laugh their heads off. But Qinfen was serious. When he soaked in the spirit essence pond under the tree of life the next morning, his body felt like it was expanding. This was a sign that he was about to break through. After another half a day, that swelling feeling only increased. However, he didn't trigger the Hollow God lightning tribulation. Qinfen realized that the opportunity to break through hadn't arrived yet. He immediately threw 10 spirit crystals around him. Now wasn't the time to be worried about cultivation resources. The 10 spirit crystals instantly formed a small spiritual chi whirlpool that spiraled above Qinfen's head. He threw out array flags and quickly formed a simple level 5 spirit gathering array. That wasn't enough. He took out 2 void transformation pills and swallowed them. This was a type of level 6 tier 7 king pill. It was used to help early-stage Hollow God realm cultivators break through quickly. To a monster like Qinfen who could eat pills above his cultivation level, the void transformation pill was exactly what he needed to break through to the Hollow God realm. Qinfen could only refine level 5 tier 7 king pills now. This bottle of void transformation pills was obtained from the storage ring of the Hollow God realm cultivator he killed. However, this method of stealing and killing wasn't a long-term solution. He thought that he had to continue to improve his pill refining skills when he had time. When the 2 void transformation pills reacted in his body, Qinfen felt that his body was about to explode from the ferocious spiritual qi. He didn't dare to be careless. He immediately took out the remaining 2,000 soul crystals and started to absorb them crazily. Spirit Pith Pool, Tree of Life, 10 spirit crystals, level 5 spirit gathering array, 2 void transformation pills, 1,000 soul crystals. Qinfen had only broken through to the Hollow God realm and he had already taken out such a large amount of cultivation resources. Even a body condensation or cauldron filling state expert would feel ashamed. The dense spiritual qi formed a semi-crystal state. At this moment, Qinfen didn't even need to deliberately absorb it. The spiritual qi automatically surged into his body. He calmed down and started to absorb the soul crystals. Previously, after he absorbed over 1,000 soul crystals, his spiritual qi had a breakthrough. The strength of his spiritual qi was even comparable to a late-stage Hollow God realm cultivator, Rumble. After an unknown period of time, a muffled sound exploded in Qinfen's mind. He didn't step into the Hollow God realm. Instead, his spiritual qi had a breakthrough. His mind became incomparably clear. Even the slightest movement in the wind was very real. When he released his divine sense, not only did the range of his divine sense double, the strength of his divine sense also became more realistic. It was as if he had released countless threads. Rumble! Not long after his spiritual qi had a breakthrough, a loud sound came from Qinfen's body. The sky above his head was quickly filled with thunderclouds. This was the sign of breaking through to the Hollow God realm. Lightning exploded in the sky. Each bolt was as thick as a person's waist. However, the strength of the lightning didn't increase by much. At least, it was within the range that Qinfen could accept. Lightning bolts fell from the sky as if they were free. After half a day, the thunderclouds above his head gradually dispersed. When Qinfen looked at his body again, he realized that he had reached Nihility God Stage Level 3. In just 2 short days he had gone from the peak of the true spirit realm to the 3rd level of the Void God realm. No one would believe this kind of rocket-like breakthrough speed. Even Qinfen was stunned. This kind of breakthrough speed was just too heaven-defying. Chapter 1971. When the lightning clouds above his head completely dispersed, Qin Fen's emotions slowly calmed down. He realized that the reason he was able to reach Hollow God Stage Level 3 from the peak of True Spirit wasn't by chance. This was the result of his constant life and death battles. In reality, Qin Fen's true essence had already reached the Hollow God Stage long ago. He just lacked the opportunity to break through. When the opportunity came, the barrier between Hollow God Stage Level 1 and Hollow God Stage 3 would be easily broken. The reason why his cultivation stopped at Nihility God Stage Level 3 was because Nihility God Stage Level 4 was the intermediate stage of Nihility God Stage. Qin Fen believed that once he broke through the bottleneck of Hollow God Stage Level 4, he would be able to break through Hollow God Stage Level 5 and Hollow God Stage. When he looked at his body again, Qin Fen found that the spirit core in his body had turned into 3 clones. The 3 clones were bright and lifelike. They were many times stronger than the clones of other Hollow God Stage cultivators. At this moment, Qin Fen deeply felt the benefits of the Sure-Kill Lightning Tribulation. This lightning tribulation was a double-edged sword. Not only could it destroy a cultivator, it could also allow a cultivator to grow quickly. As long as a cultivator could withstand the power of the lightning tribulation, their body would be stronger than other cultivators of the same level. Not only would their body be strengthened, even the clones formed after reaching Hollow God Stage would be extremely powerful. Feng Er, you're out! You've reached Hollow God Stage? When Qin Fen walked out of the room, Qin Huang and Qin Shitian immediately came up to him. Their eyes were quickly attracted by the 3 floating figures behind Qin Fen, and they revealed expressions of disbelief. In just 3 short days, Qin Fen went from peak of True Spirit to Hollow God Stage Level 3. This kind of breakthrough speed made even him speechless, let alone his father and grandfather. Qin Fen knew that no matter how much he explained, he wouldn't be able to calm them down. He nodded and said, "The annual auction of the 80-mile city is about to begin. I'll go see what good things are there. You two can stay in the room. Once the auction is over, I'll come here to pick you up." Emperor Qin and Emperor Qin knew that the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company would not let this matter go. They were worried about Qin Feng's safety and wanted to warn him. However, when they thought that he had already reached Empty God Realm Level 3, they swallowed their words. The annual 80-mile city auction was held as scheduled, and the location was the most famous Seaview Tower in the city. The Seaview Pavilion was established on a boundlessly spacious square. When one stood within the Seaview Pavilion, one would be able to gaze upon the Godfall Ocean in the distance. The boundlessly vast azure ocean was extremely beautiful, and it caused one to be extremely fascinated. However, as human cultivators of the Divine Supreme Continent, they knew very well that the Fallen God's Sea was not a place that could be easily entered. It was the territory of the monster cultivators. In other words, the deepest part of the Fallen God's Sea was a land of death that not even the monster cultivators could cross. By the time Qin Fen arrived, the plaza was already crowded with cultivators. Some of them were from the Chamber of Commerce of the 80-kilometer city, but most of them were tourists who came to participate in the auction. Qin Fen had participated in countless auctions, but this was the first time he participated in an auction where cultivators of various races coexisted. Not only were there human cultivators in the plaza, but there were also demon cultivators, devil cultivators, and even ghost cultivators. Moreover, there was no need for them to conceal themselves, and they stood in the plaza in their original forms. "Ha ha! Young hero Qin is here!" A familiar voice sounded in Qin Fen's ear. The air behind Qin Fen rippled, and a figure appeared. The person who came was the little elder of the Wanquan Trading Company, Ji Bei. However, this was only a clone of him. Although Qin Fen had broken through to Hollow Spirit Realm Level 3, he suppressed his cultivation to the peak of True Spirit Realm. This wasn't because he was pretending to be weak, but mainly because Ji Bei and Kirio already knew that he was at the peak of True Spirit Realm. It had only been 3 days, and if he showed off his Hollow Spirit Realm Level 3 cultivation, they would probably be scared to death. "Elder Ji!" Qin Fen nodded his head as a form of greeting. Ji Bei wasn't angry, and said with a smile, "The 80-kilometer city's annual auction is very big, and there will be countless treasures publicly auctioned. I believe young hero Qin won't be disappointed. If you like our auction items, I can help you apply for a discount after the price is set. The reason why Ji Bei wanted Qin Fan to stay was so that he could bid for their products. This was the common thought of all businessmen. Especially when Qin Fan bought 100,000 sea heart stones 3 days ago. He didn't even blink when he paid, so it could be seen that he was an extremely wealthy cultivator. If there's really something that I like, then the price is not a problem. Qin Fan was very confident. Putting aside whether or not he would be interested in any treasures in this auction, he had to ensure his own safety first. Now that he had displayed his wealth, he would naturally be able to gain Ji Bei's favor. Later on, when the auction started, if Kirio and the others dared to cause trouble, he believed that the all-trading company wouldn't sit idly by. The two of them exchanged a few polite words before Ji Bei's clone left. He was probably going to entertain the other rich cultivators. Qin Fan didn't care about this. Instead, he liked the peace and quiet. However, not long after, a few figures landed around him and surrounded him. Senior brother Mufeng, it's that ant that doesn't know life from death. This ant is only at the true spirit realm. Is there a need to call me over? Senior brother doesn't know. This guy probably has some kind of magic treasure or cultivated a top-grade cultivation method. Although he's only at the true spirit realm, he could easily kill cultivators of the same generation. Mu Xingyi's disciple was instantly killed by him. The two people who spoke were wearing the Immortal Gourd Sect's uniform. They were Mu He and Mu Feng. When Qin Fan saw them, he immediately understood that Mu He must have gone to find Mu Feng for revenge after leaving the city. Qin Fan was quite familiar with Mu Feng. When he fell into the Immortal Gourd Sect from the bottom of the 10,000 Lotus Lake, he was watched by Mu Feng and Mu Jin. Then, during the genius competition, Qin Fan lost control of his emotions when he saw Duo Air and killed Mu Jin, who was at the peak of the Void God realm. Now, this Mu Feng was a supreme cultivator who had stepped into the body condensation stage. If Mu Feng appeared a few days earlier, Qin Fan would definitely be worried. He might even bring his father and grandfather away from the city. However, now that he had stepped into the Nihility God stage level 3, Qin Fan even desired to fight with Mu Feng. He wanted to see where his limits were. Not only were there people from the Immortal Gourd sect, there were also a few men with demonic chi. Kirio and Hai Ming were among them, and there were a few subordinates with weaker cultivations by their side. Surname Qin, you actually dare to stay in the 80-mile city? I think you must be tired of living. Hai Ming's anger soared to the heavens. It seemed that the humiliation of being kicked out of the all-knowing trading company 3 days ago was still fresh in his mind. Back then, Qin Fan couldn't see through Hai Ming's cultivation. Now that he scanned him with his divine sense, his mind was clear. This was a body condensation stage 1 demonic cultivator. Such a powerful formation was hard for normal cultivators to fight against. But it was nothing to Qin Fan, who was at the Void God realm level 3. Not only was he not afraid, he even smiled and said to Hai Ming, I know you. 3 days ago, you went to the Wanquan trading firm and were chased away by Elder Ji Bei. This matter had spread through the entire city, and became an indelible humiliation in Hai Ming's heart. He hated it when people mentioned this, but Qin Fan touched his reverse scale. A loud sound came from Hai Ming's body and powerful true essence surged. He stared at Qin Fan like he wanted to devour him and said word by word, Brat, say it again if you dare. Are your ears bad? I said you were chased out of the Wanquan trading firm 3 days ago. Wasn't that person you? Qin Fan wasn't afraid at all and even raised his voice by a few decibels. Many cultivators heard his voice and looked over. When they saw Hai Ming full of killing intent, they couldn't understand Qin Fan's actions. In their eyes, Qin Fan was just a peak true spirit cultivator. How dare he challenge the dignity of a body condensation state demonic cultivator? Elder Hai Ming, don't do anything. Otherwise, you'll fall into that brat's trap. Kirio anxiously transmitted his voice. Hai Ming retracted his hand, which had been raised in midair. A sweet taste rose up in his throat, but he forcefully swallowed it back down. He was so angry that he was about to vomit blood. Let's see how long you can be arrogant for. If you have the guts, then hide in the 80-mile city for the rest of your life. Hai Ming coldly said and turned to leave. The people of the dominating Heaven Furnace trading firm also left. Ji Bei, who was standing far away, let out a sigh of relief. He was afraid that the two sides would really fight. At that time, it wouldn't be up to him to help Qin Fin. After Kirio and the others left, Mu Feng and Mu He still stood to the side. They didn't have any intention of leaving. Not to mention that they were in the 80-mile city. Even if they were outside, Qin Fin wouldn't be afraid of them. What are you guys still doing here? Do you want to take revenge for Mu Jingyi? If you want to take revenge, then hurry up and do it. If you don't dare to do it, then scram. Qin Fin specialized in exposing his enemy's scars. His words made the two tremble in anger. Mu He had already experienced Qin Fin's venomous tongue, so he gradually calmed down. However, Mu Feng found it hard to calm down. Especially with the recent troubles with the immortal gourd, his heart was filled with anger. Your cultivation is mediocre, but you don't know the immensity of heaven and earth. I've seen many ants like you. In the end, they all died tragically in the wilderness. Mu Feng threatened in a low voice. This move didn't work on Qin Fin. He retorted, "This is what I wanted to say to you. You're already over 100 years old, but you're still at the body condensation realm. To think that the Immortal Gourd sect is a 6-star sect in the South Plateau continent. Are the disciples of the sect as slow as you? If that's really the case, the Immortal Gourd sect will self-destruct in a few decades." Mu Feng's eyes rolled and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He was now 100 years old and had already stepped into the body condensation realm. There were trillions of cultivators in the South Plateau continent, but there were very few who could step into the body condensation realm before 100 years old. He didn't expect that in Qin Fin's eyes, he was a slow and useless cultivator. In the entire South Plateau continent, only Qin Fin dared to say such arrogant and ignorant words. Ha ha! You're indeed an ignorant ant. I'm afraid you'll never be able to step into the body condensation realm. You can only enjoy talking. I can understand your feelings. Mu Feng suddenly laughed. Chapter 1972. I'm not even 30 yet, and I'm already at the peak of the true spirit realm. It won't be a problem for me to reach the peak of the disaster transformation realm when I'm 100 years old. Let me ask you, when you were 30, were you not even at the peak of the Buddha light realm? Mu Feng's laughter stopped. He really wasn't at the peak of the Buddha light realm when he was 30. At that time, he had just reached the late stage of the Buddha light realm, and this was achieved with the help of the sect's resources. If he cultivated alone, it would be difficult for him to reach the Buddha light realm. Sway_Ming. You're twisting words and forcing logic. If you have the guts, then fight to the death. Don't talk nonsense. Mu Feng was about to explode. Qin Feng was so excited that he almost accepted Mu Feng's challenge. He had just stepped into the Empty God Realm Level 3 and needed a master like Mu Feng to practice with. But when he thought about the fact that he was in the 80-kilometer city, Qin Feng gave up on the idea. If he accepted, he would have to display his Empty God Realm Level 3 cultivation. That would attract the attention of Kirito and the others. Even Xian Hai wouldn't be able to accept his speed. Ha! Weren't you so arrogant just now? Why aren't you talking now? Mu Feng thought Qin Feng was afraid of him and laughed again. Qin Feng looked at him as if he was looking at an idiot. There were so many idiots in the divine continent. Each one of them was tired of living and came to seek death. Senior brother Mu Feng, I didn't expect to see you here. How have you been? A laugh could be heard and the airflow in the surroundings fluctuated slightly. Before anyone could notice, a man in a white robe was already standing in front of Mu Feng. Mu He cupped his hands and greeted. Immortal Gourd Mu He greets Senior Wumien. Su Wumien smiled and waved his hand. Ha ha! Junior brother Mu He, you don't need to be so polite. We're all disciples of 6-star sects and our sects have a good relationship. Before he could finish, Su Wumyan's expression changed. He stared coldly at Qin Feng and shouted, "It's you, kid?" Then he looked at Mu Feng and asked, "Senior brother Mu Feng, is this your immortal Gord's disciple?" Mu Feng had never seen Su Wumyan act like this before. He immediately realized that there was a big problem and quickly explained, "Junior brother Wumyan, you've misunderstood. This kid has nothing to do with the immortal Gord. He even has some grudges with it." Su Wumyan heaved a sigh of relief. She was afraid that Mu Feng would say that Qin Fen was a disciple of the immortal Gord. The moment she saw Qin Fen, Su Wumyan immediately recognized him. This was the person that the Xingkuan sect had been searching for months. "Before the genius competition, did you go to Panshan Market's Xingkuan workshop?" Su Wumyan's expression was cold. Qin Feng had long recognized Su Wumyan. She was the great elder of the Xingkuan sect. She was the one who had issued a citywide warrant to kill Qin Feng, forcing Qin Feng to change his identity and appearance to Qiao Feng. Qin Fen knew that she had come for the spirit turtle shell. If he had been caught by Su Wumyan several months ago, he would probably have died. But now that he had met her again, he did not show any mercy at all. "You're not mistaken. I was the one who bought the ornament on the azure crane blade. Back then, we were both willing parties. Why are you bringing this up now?" Qin Fen's voice was cold. After confirming Qin Fen's identity, Su Wumyan was both happy and angry. She was happy that she had found Qin Fen, but she was angry at Qin Fen's arrogant attitude. "That ornament is extremely important to the Xingkuan workshop. Here are 100,000 spiritual stones. Hand it over." Su Wumyan casually tossed out a storage ring. There were 100,000 high-grade spiritual stones inside. Back then, Qin Fen had spent 100,000 spiritual stones to buy the level 9 spirit turtle shell. The Xingkuan workshop's waiter in Panshan Market thought that he had made a great profit. In the end, he was almost scolded to death by Su Wumyan. Now, the seal on the spirit turtle shell had already disappeared when the gate of life was opened. The spirit turtle shell had become a simple level 9 material. Even if he gave it back to Su Wumyan, she probably would not want it. But Qin Fen would not give it to her. Once Su Wumyan discovered that the seal on the spirit turtle shell had disappeared, he would definitely know that he had found the mountain of life. Hee hee! Elder Su sure knows how to joke. I did spend 100,000 spiritual stones to buy that ornament, but I like it very much. Why would I sell it?" Qin Fen laughed. Killing intent flashed across Su Wumyan's eyes. Clearly, he was running out of patience. If it were not for the fact that they were in the city, why would he waste his time talking to Qin Fen? He would just slap him to death and search through his storage ring for the spirit turtle shell. 200,000 high-grade spiritual stones! Su Wumyan showed no signs of backing down. He immediately doubled the price. Mu Feng and Mu He did not know what was going on between Qin Fen and the Xingkuan school, so they could only watch from the side. "I've said it before, the ornament is not for sale. Perhaps Elder Su's ears are not working?" Qin Fen's face was slightly cold. Su Wumyan's body immediately surged with violent true yuan. As the Grand Elder of a 6-star crafting sect and a body condensation cultivator, when had a junior ever dared to speak to him like that? "Brat, don't be so ungrateful. My patience is limited. 1,000,000 spiritual stones, will you sell it or not?" Su Wumyan was panicking. The spirit turtle shell was the key to opening the mountain of life. There were countless legends about the mountain of life, and each legend indicated that there was a rare treasure hidden inside. Mu Feng and Mu He were shocked. Some of the cultivators watching were also surprised. They had no idea what Su Wumyan wanted to buy, but from what he said, it should be an ornament. It was hard to understand why a mere ornament would be priced at 1,000,000 high-grade spiritual stones. Just when everyone thought Qin Fen would change his mind under the temptation of money, they heard him say coldly, "Looks like Elder Su is very rich. All right, since you like that ornament so much, I won't force you. I'll sell it to you for 1,000,000 spiritual stones." 1,000,000 spiritual stones? The crowd gasped. Everyone looked at Qin Fan strangely. Many people thought he was crazy. Su Wumyan was enraged. Even if he knew the use of the spirit turtle shell, there was no way he would spend 1,000,000 spiritual stones to buy it. Not to mention, he didn't have 1,000,000 spiritual stones on him. Brat, are you tired of living? Su Wumyan's body exploded with murderous intent. Qin Feng's expression didn't change. You really don't know how to be grateful, old man. I reluctantly gave up my ornament and sold it to you, but you want to kill me instead. Are all the disciples of the Xinkuan sect this ungrateful? Su Wumyan's powerful aura dissipated. He had seen shameless people before, but he had never seen a cultivator as shameless as Qin Fan. You're the one humiliating me, and you still have the face to say the words ungrateful. Good. Very good. I'll go deal with the auction first. When I'm free, I'll teach you a lesson. After Su Wumyan calmed down, he realized that he was in the 80-mile city. His back was covered in a layer of cold sweat. Just now, he almost attacked Qin Fan. He could imagine that if he made a move, before his attack could even land on Qin Fan, he would be slapped to death by the guardian of the city. After Su Wumyan left, Mu Feng and Mu He were still standing on the side. Qin Fan realized that these two weren't here to cause trouble for him. It was very likely that they were here to participate in the auction. Seeing his enemies run away one after another, Qin Fan was in a good mood. He was even more certain of the authority of the 80-mile city. Killing was not allowed here. Even the elders of the six-star sects didn't dare to break the rules here. Although Mu Feng and Mu He So would occasionally skin Qin Fan, he didn't care about them at all. In the 80-mile city, no one could do anything to the other. Qin Fan just treated it like he was being stared at by wild dogs. As time went on, there were more and more cultivators in the square. Suddenly, 4 shadows appeared in the sky. Before this, no one noticed the existence of these 4 people, not even Qin Fan. The 4 people in the sky were shining with a blinding light. It was so bright that people couldn't open their eyes. These were the 4 guardians of the 80-mile city. When the surging aura from their bodies spread out, it immediately formed an invisible pressure, causing the noisy crowd in the square to quieten down. Welcome friends from afar to participate in the annual auction of the 80-mile city. The auction will be conducted fairly and openly. Anyone has the right to bid. Killing is strictly prohibited here. I hope everyone can maintain order. Hai Qiji, as the representative of the Guardians, said some opening words. During this time, his eyes inadvertently glanced at Qin Fan. A faint murderous intent flashed across his eyes. Qin Fan clearly sensed this murderous intent. However, with his current cultivation, he couldn't fight against Hai Qiji, so he pretended that nothing had happened. The auction started on time. There were more than 100 companies participating in this auction. They were all from the 80-mile city. Qin Fan also saw Su Wumyan in the line of companies. It seemed like the Xingkuan Tool Workshop also had a shop in the 80-mile city. Other than the established companies, there were also many cultivators who signed up for the auction to auction their treasures. If their treasures were successfully auctioned, the profits would be split with the main organizer of the 80-mile city. The organizer of the auction was most likely the 4 guardians of the 80-mile city. This cooperation method was similar to other auction houses, so Qin Fan wasn't surprised. However, when he saw Su Wumyan confirming the auction item with the organizer, a plan suddenly popped into his mind. Young hero, you also want to auction an item? Yes. Qin Fan walked to the auction venue and was immediately greeted by a worker from the organizer. The worker continued to say, if you're auctioning an item in your own name, the organizer will take 30% of the profits. What do you think? Qin Fan wasn't really here to auction an item, but when he heard that the organizer wanted to take 30% of the profits, he was shocked. This ratio was too high. Moreover, the 80-mile city's auction was very popular. After this auction, who knows how much money the 80-mile city would earn? All of that money would probably fall into the pockets of the 4 guardians. Young hero, do you still want to auction? The worker reminded. Qin Fan quickly woke up and said, You misunderstood. I'm not auctioning an item in my own name. I'm from the Shinkuan sect. Chapter 1973. The shop assistant was stunned. Oh. So you're a disciple of the Shinkuan sect. But your shop has finished counting the auction items. What are you doing here? Qin Feng smiled. It's like this. After Elder Su Wumian checked the auction items with you, he found that there was a bottle of pills that he forgot to register. I'm here to replenish it. There were countless auction items in the 80-mile city auction every year. It was very common for Qin Feng to replenish the auction items. The shop assistant didn't think too much. He took out a pen and paper and said, All right, take out the replenishing item and I'll register it. Qin Feng was secretly delighted. He took out a normal-looking jade bottle. Inside was an entire bottle of Spirit Surge pills. Spirit Surge pills only appeared in the North Sand continent, and didn't exist in the South Flat continent. This is a bottle of energy conversion pills. Our Shinkuan Weapon Workshop plans to auction it. Qin Feng handed over the jade bottle. The shop assistant only wrote down the name of the pill and the name of the Shinkuan Weapon Workshop. He didn't even open the jade bottle. All right. Are there any other items? Qin Feng let out a sigh of relief. He knew that his guess was right. For a large auction like this, there wasn't enough manpower. There was no time to check the items one by one. Moreover, the auction company or individuals couldn't give false information. If they were investigated, they would be the ones in trouble. There's nothing else. Qin Feng left after finishing his business. He couldn't help but look forward to what kind of commotion the Spirit Surge pill would cause. After waiting for a while, the 80-mile city auction officially began. The first auction item was placed on the round auction stage. The first and last items of each auction were very rare and precious. This time, the opening item of the 80-mile city was a high-grade true artifact-grade sword, which immediately caused a sensation among the crowd. The treasure sword was called the Jade Water Sword. It was dark green and covered with water patterns. The patterns seemed to flow by themselves. It was like a dark green lake had formed the sword. As soon as the sword was displayed, many people in the square recognized it. If I'm not wrong, that's a Jade Water Sword. It's said that the Jade Water Sword was made from the sea crystals of the fallen god Ocean. If a cultivator with a water spirit root obtains this sword, their power will increase exponentially. This old man lacks a high-grade true artifact-grade sword. What a pity! This true treasure sword is specially used by cultivators with water spiritual roots. Many cultivators who were planning to bid for the Jade Water Sword immediately gave up on the idea when they learned that it was a treasure sword specially used by cultivators with water spiritual roots. Even so, there were still several hundred people waiting to bid for the true treasure sword. It was clear that there were quite a few cultivators with spirit roots in the South Flat continent. Director Hua, what's the starting bid for this Jade Water Sword? Director Hua, you don't have to explain in detail. Don't waste my time. This sword is mine! The auction had not yet officially begun, but those cultivators who were preparing to bid for the item were already flushed with excitement. This kind of result made the participating companies and the organizers very satisfied. The little old man who was addressed as manager Hua raised his true origin and said, This Jade Water Sword is a treasure sword provided by the 6-star equipment refining sect, the Star-Kun Weapon Workshop. The starting price is 10 million high-grade spirit stones, and each bid increment must be no less than 1 million spirit stones. In addition to spirit stones, bidders can also take out other cultivation resources as a condition for bidding, and the highest bid wins. As soon as Director Hua finished speaking, more than 10 voices rang out one after another. 15 million upper spiritual stones, 20 million spirit stones, 30 million spirit stones, 2 supreme-grade spirit stones, and 10 ice spirit crystals. 100 million spirit stones, 10 fire spirit crystals, and 5 soul crystals. As the price was raised again and again, many cultivators who were bidding silently backed out. The current price was so high that they were powerless. Qin Feng did not expect the first true treasure sword to be a treasure provided by the Star Kun Weapon Workshop. It seemed that the Star Kun Weapon Workshop was very powerful in the South Flat Continent, especially with countless spirit and true treasures in their sect. Otherwise, they would not have taken out a high-grade true treasure sword to auction. If Qin Feng did not already have a supreme-grade true treasure imprisonment saber, he would really have an urge to bid for the Jade Water Sword. However, he wasn't interested in the Jade Water Sword at all. Even if he didn't have a high-grade true artifact sword, he had bought a top-grade true artifact sword model not long ago at the Panshan City Square's goods exchange. He planned to use it to forge the immortal artifact Heaven Rainbow. Thinking of the Heaven Rainbow, Qin Feng remembered that he had not collected all the main materials to forge the Heaven Rainbow. He did not know if he would be able to find those materials at the 80 Mile City auction. After 15 minutes, the bidding for the Jade Water Sword was coming to an end. Only 2 cultivators were still bidding, and the price of the sword was approaching a sky-high price. 500 million high-grade spirit stones, an earth-grade sword skill manual, 5 supreme-grade spirit stones, 5 level 7 demonic beast cores, and 10 soul crystals. I already said that this Jade Water Sword is mine. If you want to increase the price, I will fight you to the end. A black-robed elder, who was determined to win at the beginning, had a cold expression. Qin Feng scanned him with his divine sense and could not see through his cultivation. However, he could feel a strong demonic aura from him. It was obvious that he was a demonic cultivator. The person bidding against the demonic cultivator was a human cultivator wearing the uniform of the Heavenly Sword sect. Qin Feng had a slight understanding of the Heavenly Sword sect. This was a 6-star sect that specialized in the Tao of the Sword. Back at the Panshan Market Square, Qin Feng had obtained an extreme-grade true artifact sword model, which came from the Heavenly Sword sect's young elder, Hu Chong. The Heavenly Sword sect's elder was obviously not Hu Chong. When he heard the sky-high price of 500 million spirit stones, his face immediately became very serious. As a disciple of a sect that specialized in swordsmanship, a sword was very meaningful to him. Moreover, the Heavenly Sword sect's great elder, Hu Yamian, was a cultivator with a water spiritual root. Therefore, the Jade Water Sword was made for him. Unfortunately, Hu Yamian only had 300 million spirit stones. Moreover, the old demonic cultivator also had an earth-grade sword skill and many other precious resources. It was not something that Hu Yamian could compete for. When the sky-high price of 500 million spirit stones appeared, the crowd in the square immediately became excited. Which sect's elder is that old man from? His wealth is amazing. What sect's great elder? That's Tsang Island's Nanming Palace's great protector Chimei. So he's a demonic cultivator. No wonder he's so rich. Rumor has it that the islands around the God-Fall Ocean are extremely rich in cultivation resources. There are countless spirit herbs and spirit stones. However, if we human cultivators haven't reached cauldron-filling state, we don't even dare to go deep into the God-Fall Ocean. Rumor has it that disaster transformation state, and even truth realization state cultivators have died in the God-Fall Ocean. Heavenly Sword sect's great elder Hu Yamian originally didn't know Chi Mei's identity. When he heard the crowd's discussion, he was in complete despair. Competing with Nanming Palace's great elder in terms of wealth? This was simply asking for humiliation. The exciting sound of bidding didn't appear for a long time. Moments later, Manager Hu said, "Is there anyone who can bid higher than Protector Chi Mei? It's rare to see a top-grade cultivation artifact. If you miss this, you'll have to wait another year." Manager Hu tried his best to raise the price, but no one bid. It seemed that Chi Mei's price had reached the limit. The sky-high price of 500 million spirit stones had exceeded the expectations of Xingkun Forge and the organizer of the 80 Mile City. In the end, Manager Wu made the final call and the first treasure of the auction went to Chi Mei. Chi Mei was in a great mood after getting the sword and went to pay the fee. The auction continued and the commotion caused by the blue water sword soon dissipated. Everyone focused on the new auction items. The level of the large-scale auction in the 80-mile city was extremely high, and the items being auctioned were all very precious. Medicinal pills were all rank 5 spirit pills and above, cultivation methods and martial skills were above profound grade, and from time to time, a few rank 7 spirit grasses were auctioned, as well as rare materials for refining and arrays. The atmosphere of the auction was heated. There were many cultivators competing for each item. However, these items still couldn't enter Qin Feng's eyes. He had better pills or cultivation methods and martial techniques in his storage ring. Halfway through the auction, the dominating Sky Furnace Trading Company's items were auctioned. Although they were called items, they were actually a large number of human cauldrons. There were human cultivators, devil cultivators, ghost cultivators, and even demonic cultivators in the human cauldrons. Qin Feng was a little upset when he saw these cultivators were locked in cages and pushed onto the stage. They were all people with flesh and blood, and they had family and friends. However, Qin Feng was powerless. He couldn't even solve his own problems, so he didn't have the energy to solve other people's problems. Moreover, the Divine Supreme Continent was a place where the strong preyed on the weak. Unfair things like this could be seen everywhere. If Qin Feng interfered when he saw injustice, he would die of exhaustion. The 108th item is the 88 human cauldrons provided by the dominating Sky Furnace Trading Company. These human cauldrons range from the immortal Qi realm to the true spirit realm. They will be sold as a package. The starting price is 5 million spirit stones, and each increment must be no less than 100,000 spirit stones, said Manager Hua. Qin Feng's heart sank. The starting price of the 88 human cauldrons was only 5 million spirit stones. In other words, a cultivator was only worth a little more than 50,000 spirit stones. Moreover, there were a few true spirit realm experts among the human cauldrons. They must have put in a lot of hard work to reach their current realm. In the end, they were bought for tens of thousands of spirit stones. Just thinking about it was enough to make him feel depressed. Senior brother Mu Feng, we'll take all of these human cauldrons. That way, we can satisfy the island lord's needs. Not far away, Mu He transmitted his voice to Mu Feng. You're in charge of the auction. The price is not a problem. We must get these human cauldrons, replied Mu Feng. That bastard Qin got lucky. If we get the 88 human cauldrons, we'll have to bring them back to Gourd Island immediately after the auction. We won't have the time to deal with that ant. Mu He's tone was full of unwillingness. Mu Feng sneered. Heh! He's just a true spirit realm ant. Killing him is only a matter of time. What's the trouble? Chapter 1974. The two were conversing through telepathy. Most people would not notice if they did not pay attention. However, Qin Feng had been paying attention to the immortal Gourd and dominating Furnace Trading Company's movements. Therefore, he heard every word of their conversation. 6 million spiritual stones! 7 million spiritual stones! 10 million spiritual stones and a pink flying sword! The 88 furnaces attracted the attention of many cultivators. In just half an incense stick's time, the price had reached 10 million spiritual stones. However, Mu He had yet to make a bid. He was waiting for the small fries to compete with each other for a few rounds. He wanted to scare off some of the weaker competitors before making the final bid. However, plans could never keep up with the changes. When the price rose to within the range of Mu He and Mu Feng's expectations, a voice suddenly rang out, shocking the crowd. 50 million high-grade spiritual stones! Whoosh! The crowd on the square was in an uproar. The few cultivators who were still arguing with each other shut their mouths, and looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. For an ordinary cultivator, a cultivation furnace would not be of much use. Only a sect or an individual who practiced a special cultivation method could use a cultivation furnace to advance quickly. Therefore, the price of furnaces in the Divine Continent had always been stagnant. Furnaces were usually used by cultivators with low cultivation such as true spirit or hollow god realm cultivators. How could they be easily captured and used as furnaces? When Qin Fin raised the price from 10 million to 50 million, it was enough to shock the crowd. It's that bastard with the surname Qin. He must be going against us. I'm so angry. Mu He's face darkened. Mu Feng rolled his eyes. He was a body condensation stage cultivator, but he was so angry at Qin Fin's actions that his mind was in chaos. After a moment of silence, Supervisor Hu stood up and shouted, "Is there anyone who can bid higher than that cultivator?" However, no one bid. Qin Fin's method of raising the price was too fierce. Many people were still in a daze. Seeing that the 88 furnaces were about to fall into Qin Fin's hands, Mu He looked at Mu Feng anxiously and asked, "Senior brother, what should we do now?" "Humph! What else can we do? Compete with him." Mu Feng's expression was cold. Mu He said with a bitter expression, "Senior brother, that ant doesn't need a human furnace at all. He's obviously trying to trick us. I'm sure that as long as we increase the price, he will continue to increase it." Mu Feng glared at him and reprimanded, "We are disciples of a dignified 6-star sect, the Immortal Gourd. How can we be afraid of that ant? Let him increase the price. I want to see how much wealth he has. Even if we suffer a loss for now, we must kill that ant after the auction is over. At that time, we will take back all the money we lost from him." Mu He's eyes lit up, and all the worries in his heart disappeared. He shouted, 15 million spirit stones and 2 powder equipment. The plaza was in an uproar again. Mu He's price had changed their perception of him once again. Wasn't it just 88 furnaces? Was there a need to call out such a high price? You don't know yet, but the young cultivator who bid 10 million has a grudge against Elder Mu He of the Celestial Gourd. 3 days ago, they almost fought at the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company. Later, a disciple of the Celestial Gourd challenged that young cultivator and was instantly killed. I see. I was wondering how a mere 88 furnaces could reach a price of more than 10 million spirit stones. It turns out that it's not just an auction, but a battle between the two parties. That young man's cultivation is only at the peak true spirit realm. How dare he challenge Elder Mu He's authority? The divine continent is really full of ants who don't know what's good for them. Ha ha! There's going to be a good show. I'm going to place a bet on how high they will raise the price. The odds are 3-1 if it's less than 50 million spirit stones, and 1-5 if it's more than 50 million spirit stones. Is there anyone who wants to bet? The atmosphere in the plaza was extremely lively. The cultivators who were watching were even more excited than Qin Fin and Mu He. When Mu He shouted 15 million spirit stones, he immediately looked at Qin Fin with an arrogant and playful expression. As soon as he finished speaking, he heard Qin Fin's indifferent voice saying, 15 million spirit stones and 3 powder equipment. The smile on Mu He's face instantly froze. Even though he knew that Qin Fin was going against the Celestial Gourd, Qin Fin's action of only adding 100,000 spirit stones on purpose was too provocative. Grandson with the surname Qin, don't look for trouble. Be careful, or you'll lose your life. Mu He scolded. Qin Fin said indifferently, the 80-mile city's auction is fair and open. Are you not going to let others raise the price? Of course, you're from the South Flat Continent's 6-star sect, the Celestial Gourd. I'm just a lone cultivator, and I don't dare to say anything. If you're threatening me, then I'll withdraw. Mu He was stunned. Based on his understanding of Qin Fin, this kid was completely fearless. Why did he suddenly change and scare him away with just a few words? But in the next second, Mu He understood that Qin Fin wasn't afraid of anything. He was just digging a pit for him to jump into. Instantly, several powerful divine senses swept over Mu He. He even felt the air around him solidifying. His body felt like it was pressed down by a mountain and he couldn't move. The 4 divine senses came from the 4 great protectors of the 80-mile city. It was said that the 4 of them were cauldron-filling realm almighties. Mu He almost fainted from being stared at by 4 cauldron-filling realm almighties at the same time. How dare you! You dare to cause trouble in the 80-mile city's auction? Do you believe that I won't destroy you with one palm? Xian Hai's cold and majestic voice resounded through the entire plaza. Mu He was so scared that his body trembled. It was difficult for him to even speak. Even Mu Feng panicked. As he cursed Mu He for being an idiot, he immediately cupped his hands and said, "Seniors, you've misunderstood. I, the Celestial Gourd Absolute, have no intention of causing trouble in the 80-mile city. It's also my junior brother's fault for being too rash. I hope seniors can forgive us. We'll strictly follow the rules of the 80-mile city." "Humph. Since it's your first time, I'll let it go. If you dare to threaten me again, don't blame me for bullying you." Xian Hai's voice was still echoing in the plaza, but his dazzling figure had already disappeared into the sky. Mu He and Xian Hai heaved a sigh of relief and looked at Qin Fen viciously. "What are you standing there for? Continue bidding with that bastard. We must get those 88 cauldrons. This concerns the Celestial Gourd's dignity," Mu Feng said telepathically. Mu He didn't dare to delay and immediately raised the price. 20 million spirit stones for 3 powder sets spiritual equipment. Almost at the same time, Qin Fen also raised the price. 1 million spirit stones for 4 powder sets spiritual equipment. 50 million spirit stones for 3 scarlet magic equipment. 1 million spirit stones for 4 scarlet magic equipment. The price kept rising. Qin Fen only raised the price by 100,000 spirit stones each time, and then added a spiritual equipment. This was a very provocative behavior. Soon, all the cultivators in the plaza understood what was going on. "Ha ha! That young man is so interesting. He's going to piss off the 2 elders of the Celestial Gourd. Young cultivators these days don't use their brains. They're only looking for a moment of pleasure, but they don't care about the consequences. That cultivator reached the peak of the true spirit realm at such a young age. He's also a genius cultivator. Unfortunately, he's going to die soon. 88 cauldrons sold for 50 million spirit stones. He's really trying to save face." At this moment, Mu He and Mu Feng's faces were as black as the bottom of a pot. Their faces seemed to have swollen from anger. "Senior brother, we can't go on like this." Mu He stopped raising the price. Mu Feng said, "This damned ant, don't ever fall into my hands. I'm going to pull out his tendons, peel off his skin, and turn him into an immortal cauldron. He'll be invaded by spiritual insects every day and suffer a fate worse than death." Under Mu Feng's seemingly amiable and righteous appearance, there was an incomparably cruel and dark heart. He continued, "Directly raise the price to 100 million spirit stones. When he continues to raise the price, then you can withdraw from the auction. This old man wants to see how that ant will get 100 million spirit stones. At that time, if he can hand over the spirit stones, there's no need for us to do anything. The protectors of the 80-mile city will first kill him." Mu Feng changed his strategy at the last minute. Mu He's eyes lit up and he regained his spirit. "Senior brother, are you sure you want to do this? What if I raise the price to 100 million and that bastard doesn't follow?" "That won't happen." Looking at how confident he was before, 100 million is just the beginning. He's sure that we won't back down. Then we'll beat him at his own game. After the 2 had reached an agreement, Mu He shouted, 100 million high-grade spirit stones and 3 low-grade spiritual weapons. Whoosh! As soon as he finished speaking, the crowd went into an uproar. The large-scale auction in the 80-mile city was also halfway through, but there were very few treasures that could be sold for more than 100 million spirit stones. No one thought that a mere 88 cultivation furnaces could be sold for a sky-high price of 100 million spirit stones. Were the 2 elders of the immortal gourd sect stupid? However, aside from the 100 million spirit stones, the 3 low-grade spiritual weapons were even more exaggerated. If converted, they would be worth at least 300 million spirit stones. Moreover, they were treasures that were priceless. Mu He didn't care about the crowd's shock. After he raised the price, he waited anxiously for Qin Fen's voice. Previously, every time he raised the price, Qin Fen's voice would follow. However, this time, the situation was not good. Qin Fen didn't raise the price. Qin, why aren't you raising the price? After waiting for a dozen seconds, Mu He couldn't help but ask in panic. Qin Fen's face was full of smiles. He heard the conversation between Mu Feng and Mu He. How could he continue to raise the price? It's none of your business whether I raise the price or not. You threatened me to back out of the auction. Are you trying to force me to raise the price now? As soon as he finished speaking, a powerful divine sense swept over Mu He. When that powerful and familiar aura surrounded him, Mu He was so scared that he almost knelt down. I didn't mean it like that. Mu He felt wronged. He didn't dare to offend Xian Hai. That's for the best. If you don't like me, just say it. If you can't, just hit me. I promise I won't fight back. Qin Fen smiled. Mu He and Mu Feng rolled their eyes. Fighting in the city? Do you think we're stupid? Chapter 1975. Are you going to increase the price or not? Mu He couldn't do anything to Qin Feng. He couldn't vent his anger, so he had to ask in a gentle manner. Qin Feng smiled and said, Do you want me to increase the price? When Mu He saw the smile on Qin Feng's face, an ominous feeling rose in his heart. He felt that his and senior brother Mu Feng's plan had been seen through. Ahem! If you want to increase the price, then increase it. It's better if you don't. I advise you not to increase the price. You're just a true spirit realm rogue cultivator. Where did you get so much wealth? Mu He wanted to provoke Qin Feng, but he used the wrong person. Qin Feng laughed and said, Ha. Alright, since you can see that I'm pretending to be rich, then I'll fulfill your wish. The 88 cultivation furnaces are yours. Congratulations to the two of you. Mu He and Mu Feng were speechless. Hey! You coward, are you really going to back out? Are you going to do something? Mu He became anxious. Spending 100 million spiritual stones and 3 low-grade true artifacts for 88 cultivation furnaces? Wasn't he sick in the head? I've already said that I'm backing out of this auction. This auction has nothing to do with me anymore. Could it be that Elder Mu He wants to force me to increase the price? Then I'll have to find Senior Xian Hai to help me. When Qin Feng finished speaking, Mu He immediately felt the familiar and powerful divine sense sweep over him again. Tears welled up in his eyes. How can you bully me like this? Are there any other cultivators who want to increase the price? Director was snapped out of his daze and shouted. The 88 cultivation furnaces were sold for 100 million spiritual stones and 3 low-grade true artifacts. This was a great surprise for the dominating Heaven Cultivation Furnace Trading Company and the organizers of the 80-mile city. In just a few seconds, Director Hu knocked the gavel and shouted excitedly, Ha! Congratulations to the 2 elders of Celestial Gourd for winning the 88 cultivation furnaces of the dominating Heaven Cultivation Furnace Trading Company. Please complete the handover procedures as soon as possible. The crowd was in an uproar. The final price of this auction was out of everyone's expectations. Mu Feng and Mu He stood rooted to the ground with bloodshot eyes. If this matter was known by the Island Master and the Vice Island Master, they would definitely skin the 2 of them alive. Therefore, the price of the 100 million spirit stones and the 3 low-grade true weapons had to be collected by themselves. And the culprit who caused all this was Qin Fen. The 2 of them immediately swept their gazes towards Qin Fen, revealing a ferocious expression. However, no matter how much hatred they had, they could only suppress it in their hearts. If they attacked Qin Feng in the 80-kilometer city, they would die before they could even harm a hair on Qin Feng's head. Senior brother, what do we do now? Why don't we pay the money together first, and then we'll kill that Qin brat to vent our anger? Mu He transmitted his voice. Mu Feng scolded him angrily. You idiot, can't you tell? That ant with the surname Qin can hear our voice transmissions, so stop spouting nonsense. Mu He's expression changed drastically. He subconsciously transmitted his voice again. How is this possible? That Qin brat is only at the true spirit realm. Even if he can hear my voice transmissions, how can he hear senior brothers? In the eyes of the two, Qin Fen was still at the peak of the true spirit realm. They didn't even notice that Qin Fen had already stepped into the Nihility God realm level 3. Previously, Qin Fen had heard Mu He and Kiryo's voice transmissions, so Mu He knew that Qin Fen's divine sense was as strong as the Nihility God realm cultivators. However, senior brother Mu Feng had already stepped into the body condensation realm. He didn't believe that a true spirit cultivator could eavesdrop on a body condensation realm cultivator's voice transmissions. Even Mu Feng couldn't figure out the reason, but he was sure that Qin Fen had really heard his voice transmissions. Before he could say anything, Qin Fen's voice had already entered their minds. Elders of the Celestial Gourd, don't be afraid. I'm just a true spirit cultivator, how could I possibly hear your voice transmissions? That's right, if you can't gather the money for the auction, I can help you inform the Celestial Gourd and let all the disciples of the Celestial Gourd help you gather the money. Hot blood surged up their throats. If they didn't swallow it in time, they would have vomited blood on the spot. Ayaya! You true spirit ant, I want to see how long you can be so arrogant. Mu Feng was about to explode with anger. He waved his sleeves and walked toward the venue where the handover procedures were being handled. Mu He cast a murderous look at Qin Fen. He originally wanted to say a few harsh words, but when he thought of Qin Fen's poisonous tongue, he could only turn around and follow his senior brother angrily. No one cared about their departure. When the new auction item was pushed onto the stage, everyone's attention was immediately drawn back to the auction. The next few items were not bad, but they didn't enter Qin Fen's eyes. At this time, the auction was nearing its end, so Qin Fen couldn't help but feel a little disappointed. He deliberately stayed in the 80-mile city for 3 days, but he ended up with nothing. At this time, Director Hua's voice sounded again, and a new item was pushed out. There was a silk tray on the display table, and on the tray was a seemingly ordinary jade bottle. The next item is from the Shinkuan Weapon Workshop. It's a bottle of Vitality Elixir. The starting price is 1,000,000 spirit stones, and each increment must be no less than 100,000 spirit stones. The Vitality Elixir was a type of Class 2, Grade 7 King Elixir. It could help peak stage Sage King cultivators break through to the Buddha Light realm quickly. This was originally a rare and valuable elixir, but in today's large-scale auction, it didn't seem that eye-catching. However, there were trillions of cultivators in the South Plateau continent, and there were countless peak stage Sage Kings. Soon, tens of thousands of people jumped out to bid for this bottle of Vitality Elixir. The starting price of 1,000,000 spirit stones soared to 10 million. Qin Fen, who had been in a bored state, suddenly became excited. Of course, he knew that this bottle of Vitality Elixir was auctioned under the name of the Shinkuan Weapon Workshop. When did we auction off the Vitality Elixir? Su Wemian, who was in the Shinkuan Weapon Workshop's group, frowned. Everyone knew that the Shinkuan sect was the only 6-star smithing sect in the South Plateau continent. They had always refined and sold spiritual and true weapons, so when had they ever sold elixirs? The group of disciples stared at each other in confusion. Someone said carefully, "Great Elder Wu Mian, I don't think anyone auctioned off the elixir. We are a smithing sect, so how could we sell elixirs?" Su Wumian was depressed. If it wasn't a disciple of her sect auctioning off the Vitality Elixir, then where did this bottle of elixir come from? Even if the Vitality Elixir wasn't eye-catching in today's auction, it was still a bottle of Class 2, Grade 7 King Elixir. It couldn't have been auctioned off under the name of the Shinkuan Weapon Workshop, right? Wasn't that the behavior of a fool? For a while, the people of the Shinkuan sect couldn't figure out the reason behind this. At this moment, the auction had already concluded. The bottle of Vitality Elixir was sold for 15 million spirit stones and a level 5 spiritual herb. It was won by a peak stage Sage King cultivator. The result was good. The Shinkuan Weapon Workshop had inexplicably earned 15 million spirit stones and a level 5 spiritual herb. Even if they had to split 30% of the profits from the 80-mile city, it was still a lot of profit. Thinking up to this point, Su Wumian pretended not to know anything. However, before the new auction item was pushed onto the round stage, A cry of surprise came from the square. Eh? This bottle isn't Vitality Elixir. The 80 Mile City's auction house actually faked it? This shout immediately caused a commotion in the crowd. The 80 Mile City had been established for hundreds of years. Every year, it would hold a large-scale auction. Because there were many treasures and high integrity, it attracted many cultivators every year. But now, someone shouted that the 80 Mile City's auction was faked. How could the crowd not be shocked? Who are you? Don't talk nonsense here. Ever since the 80 Mile City was established, it has always been fair and open. Every year, it holds an auction that is fair and open. Fraud is not allowed. An ant like you dares to slander the 80 Mile City? Do you believe that I won't kill you with one palm? Instantly, 4 powerful divine senses locked onto the lone cultivator who won the Vitality Elixir. The latter was so scared that he fell to the ground on his butt. As if realizing death was approaching, he hurriedly shouted, "Protectors, please calm down. I have no intention of slandering the 80 Mile City. But just now, Manager Hu clearly said it was a bottle of Vitality Elixir. What I got was a bottle of unknown golden elixir. What is going on?" Hai Qiji retracted the murderous intent around him. He indeed wanted to kill the lone cultivator, but he had already spoken. If he didn't find out the truth first, the prestige that the 80 Mile City had built up over hundreds of years would be gone. Hai Qiji's hand reached into the air and the jade bottle that was originally in the lone cultivator's hand flew into his hand. He opened the bottle in front of everyone and poured out the elixir inside. Instantly, the fragrance of the elixir filled the air and floated around the empty square. The elixir inside the jade bottle was light green in color and emitted a bewitching light. There were hundreds of thousands of cultivators in the square, but none of them could recognize this elixir. Eh? What kind of elixir is this? Even Hai Qiji was puzzled. Xian Hai seemed to be mumbling to himself. This elixir is only a level 4 level 6 golden elixir, but it has an indescribable mysterious aura. This is an ancient elixir. This is a bottle of ancient elixir. The protector suddenly exclaimed. A strange aura suddenly floated around the square. Everyone's eyes emitted a green light as they stared at the elixir in Hai Qiji's hand. If it was not for Hai Qiji's powerful cultivation base, someone would have rushed up to snatch it. A bottle of ancient elixir? That was a peerless treasure! Almost all cultivators in the Divine Continent had heard about it. The Divine Continent had developed for tens of thousands of years. The earliest ancient era was the era of Almighties. It was said that during that era, Void God Realm cultivators were everywhere and Body Condensation Realm Almighties were as numerous as dogs. As for the cauldron-filling state, that was the beginning of cultivation. There were countless true form ultimate gods and tens of thousands of true God Realm ultimate gods. The main reason for the prosperity of cultivation was the complete array of elixirs in that era. Up until now, many elixir recipes that existed in the ancient era had been lost and disappeared. Those elixir recipes that were passed down were called ancient elixir recipes and were definitely peerless treasures that could only be found by chance. Chapter 1976. Xian Hai had already regained his senses. He looked at the pill in Hai Qiji's hand and asked, "Brother Li Tian, are you sure it's an ancient pill?" Li Tian was the great demon cultivator protector of the 80 Mile City. He had a serious expression, as if he wasn't completely sure. "A long time ago, I came across an ancient abode by chance and obtained a shocking fortuitous encounter there. It was precisely because of this that I was able to obtain my current accomplishments. Moreover, the medicinal pill in Hai Qiji's hand emitted an aura similar to that of the ancient ruins. I'm guessing that it's most likely an ancient medicinal pill." Li Tian's words were very persuasive. At his level, there was no way his senses would be wrong. The ghost cultivator protector suddenly shot out a black mist that shrouded the sky. When the black mist formed, the cultivators on the square realized they couldn't use their spirit sense to scan it. The crowd was in an uproar. It was as if the ancient pill had disappeared. "Yin Fei, what are you doing?" Xian Hai asked coldly. Yin Fei's voice sounded like two pieces of metal rubbing against each other. Other than the three protectors in the black mist, no one else could hear him. This is an ancient pill, and it's a spirit surge pill. Rumor has it that the spirit surge pill appeared in the North Sand continent 2 years ago. I didn't expect it to be true. Xian Hai and the other two were shocked. This was a bottle of spirit surge pill. Although they hadn't seen the spirit surge pill before, they knew what it was. Rumor had it that the spirit surge pill was a level 4 or level 6 golden pill, but its effects were amazing. It could allow cultivators without spirit roots to have any spirit roots. However, the recipe of the spirit surge pill had been lost for a long time. It hadn't even appeared in the East Field continent. Now, it was right in front of the four of them. This pill is a level 4 or level 6 golden pill. Could it really be a spirit surge pill? Hai Qiji's voice was trembling. As a cauldron-filling state cultivator, he rarely showed such a shocked expression. Although Hai Qiji's tone was questioning, he didn't need an answer. He was certain that the pill in his hand was the spirit surge pill. Xian Hai and the other two also realized this shocking fact and had their own thoughts. Since everyone has discovered that this is a spirit surge pill, then there's no need for us to hide it. The reason why I released the black fog poison field was to shield everyone's divine sense. After that, we'll split this bottle of spirit surge pills evenly with our 3 senior and junior brothers. Yin Fei expressed his stance. Hai Qiji immediately nodded and poured out all the spirit surge pills in the jade bottle, intending to split them evenly. Xian Hai was jolted back to his senses, and he immediately stopped him. This is an item that the Starken Weapon Workshop put up for auction, and it has already been won by that independent cultivator. How can we split it? Isn't that breaking the rules of the 80-mile city? Brother Xinhai, this is a bottle of spirit surge pills. Yin Fei retorted. Don't talk to me about the rules of the 80-mile city. The rules here were set by the four of us, so it's up to the four of us to decide what to do. For the past several hundred years, the four of us have been maintaining the peace and stability of the 80-mile city. Now that we have a bottle of spirit surge pills as a reward, what's wrong with that? Hai Qiji also chimed in. I agree with Brother Yin Fei's suggestion. We have worked hard to maintain the 80-mile city for several hundred years, so what's wrong with getting a bottle of spirit surge pills? Besides, other than the four of us, no one else knows that this is a spirit surge pill. Later, we can just return that independent cultivator's bid price to him and give the Starken Weapon Workshop a bottle of energy transformation pills, and this matter will be resolved. Xian Hai's expression was cold. He couldn't commit such a fraud. Li Tian, who had been silent all this while, suddenly spoke. I agree with Xian Hai's suggestion. Our 80-mile city has been impartial for several hundred years. Now that our reputation has been ruined because of a bottle of spirit surge pills, it's not worth it. Yin Fei and Hai Qiji's expressions darkened, and they didn't continue to split the spirit surge pills equally. Now that both sides had different opinions, the situation was in a stalemate. At this moment, the cultivators on the square were already in an uproar. They tried to use their divine senses to sweep into the black mist again and again, but they couldn't find anything. Some people started to shout the names of the four protectors, seeking an explanation, but no one answered them. Qin Fen also tried to use his divine sense to sweep into the black mist, but after his first failure, he didn't try a second time. When his divine sense touched the edge of the black mist, Qin Fen immediately understood what it was. It was extremely similar to the field that Senior Xian Hai had used when he visited the Autumn Leaf Pavilion 3 days ago. Qin Fen had seen Xian Hai's field before, so he was sure that it wasn't Xian Hai who had used this field. The black mist carried a familiar ghost cultivator aura, so Qin Fen guessed that it was the ghost cultivator who had used it. Since he had used the field, Qin Fen immediately understood the ghost cultivator's intention. That ghost cultivator had probably recognized the spirit surge pill and wanted to keep it for himself or share it with the other 3 protectors. However, even though he had guessed the ghost cultivator's intention, there was nothing he could do. After seeing the field, Qin Fen realized how powerful it was. It was an upgrade of the realm, and with his current cultivation, he couldn't break it at all. Boom! At this moment, a muffled sound came from the sky. The black mist quickly dissipated, and the clear blue sky once again appeared in front of everyone's eyes. The 4 protectors of the 80-mile city hovered in the air above their heads. Everyone immediately looked at Haichiji's hand. When they saw that the ancient pill was still there, they relaxed. 4 protectors, what happened just now? Someone asked. Haichiji and Yinfei's faces were cold, as if they had encountered something very unpleasant. Li Tian stood in the air with an indifferent expression and didn't speak. In the end, it was Xianhai who spoke. I'm sorry, everyone. Just now, we 4 protectors were studying that bottle of ancient pill. In the end, we came to the same conclusion. That bottle is indeed an ancient pill, and it's the long-lost Spirit Surge pill. The crowd was instantly excited. Spirit Surge pill? What kind of pill is that? I remember now. 2 years ago, there was a rumor in the North Sand continent that the Spirit Surge pill had appeared. I thought it was just a gimmick from the North Sand continent, but it seems like it's true. The Spirit Surge pill is a miraculous pill that can help cultivators without spiritual roots grow any spiritual root they want. I can't believe we can still see such a miraculous pill in the divine world today. When someone mentioned the effects of the Spirit Surge pill, the entire square was in an uproar. The Shinkun faction's disciples were dumbfounded. Su Wumian's eyes were filled with shock. This bottle of Spirit Surge pill was auctioned under their Shinkun Weapon Workshop's name. It was supposed to be a bottle of transforming energy pills, so how did it suddenly turn into a Spirit Surge pill? Grand Elder Wu Mian, what's going on with that bottle of Spirit Surge pill? A disciple couldn't help but ask. How could Su Wumian answer that question? He wanted to find someone else to ask, but in the next moment, a look of panic appeared on his face, as if he realized something serious had happened. Not good! Someone is deliberately framing our Shinkun Weapon Workshop. The disciples had never seen Grand Elder Wu Mian in such a panic before, so they immediately became nervous. Grand Elder Wu Mian, what happened? Su Wumian scolded after regaining his composure. Which bastard put the Spirit Surge pill under our Shinkun Weapon Workshop's name for auction? Isn't this harming us? Everyone knows how precious the Spirit Surge pill is. Now that everyone knows that the Shinkun Weapon Workshop has the Spirit Surge pill, some people might even think that the pill recipe is in Shinkun faction. What kind of disaster do you think Shinkun faction will face? After hearing Su Wumian's words, the disciples all revealed a look of horror. If the South Flat State spread the news that the Shinkun sect had the pill recipe for the Spirit Surge pill, in less than half a month, the huge 6-star sect would be razed to the ground. That's a bottle of Spirit Surge pill? Then what about my auction? The rogue cultivator who got the Spirit Surge pill didn't know whether to be happy or sad. Xianhai spoke again. This is a bottle of Spirit Surge pill, but it was auctioned under the name of Transforming Energy pill. I think it's very likely that Shinkun Weapon Workshop took the wrong pill, so this bottle won't count for now. We need to ask Shinkun faction's opinion. Hundreds of thousands of eyes immediately looked in the same direction, where the Shinkun faction disciples were standing. The disciples were trembling in fear. Even Su Wu Mian, who had stepped into the body condensation stage, felt he couldn't breathe. The cultivators on the square were like hungry wolves, ready to devour them at any moment. Where is the representative of Shinkun faction? Come out and explain. Seeing that there was no movement, Xianhai shouted again. Su Wumian could only bite the bullet and fly onto the auction stage. She said nervously. Shinkun faction disciple Su Wumian greets the 4 great protectors of 80 Mile City. No need for formalities. What's with that bottle of Spirit Surge pill? Xianhai asked. Subconsciously, Su Wumian wanted to say that this was not an item auctioned by the Shinkun sect. But on second thought, this was a bottle of the long-lost ancient pill, the Spirit Charging pill. Every pill represented a chance for a cultivator without a spirit root to develop any spirit root. If it was taken back to the sect and given to some genius disciples, it would greatly increase the overall strength of the Shinkun sect. A few decades later, the Shinkuan sect might become a 7-star sect of the South Flat Continent. Why aren't you talking? Xianhai was getting impatient. Su Wumian woke up and immediately said, Xianhai Sr., this bottle of Spirit Surge Pill was a mistake. Shinkuan Weapon Workshop was going to auction the Energy Surge Pill, but Disciple took the wrong one. If that's the case, then the decision is in your hands. You can sell the Spirit Charge Pill to that wandering cultivator at the same price as before, or you can give him a new bottle of Energy Melting Pills. Xianhai's expression was one of anticipation. Su Wumian didn't need to make a decision. Everyone could guess that he would keep the Spirit Surge Pill. As expected, Su Wumian cupped his fists at the sky and said, Xianhai Sr., this time our Shinkuan Weapon Workshop was careless. To show our sincerity, I will give the lone cultivator a bottle of Energy Surge Pill and give 1 million Spirit Stones to 80 Mile City. Xianhai nodded and said, Good. 80 Mile City has always been fair. Since you took the wrong pill, you can change it. As for the 1 million Spirit Stones, you don't need to give it to 80 Mile City. Give it to that lone cultivator as compensation. Xianhai's selfless way of doing things was praised by many cultivators. Su Wumian immediately took out a bottle of soul-melting pills from her storage ring and gave it to the rogue cultivator as well as 1 million Spirit Stones. Then she carefully took the Spirit Surge Pill from Hai Chiji's hand and immediately threw it into her storage ring. Chapter 1977. Seeing a bottle of Spirit Surge Pills fall into Su Wumian's hands, Hai Chiji and Yin Fei's faces froze. Elder Su Wumian, please wait. Junior has a few questions to ask. Su Wumian was about to leave the stage when Qin Feng's voice came from the crowd. Su Wumian saw Qin Feng and his face turned green. He and Qin Feng were mortal enemies. He didn't believe Qin Feng would ask any good questions. But Qin Feng's attitude was very sincere, so Su Wumian couldn't refuse or scold him in front of everyone. That would make him look like a gentleman. Ask whatever you want. I still have important matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving soon. Su Wumian acted like a senior. Qin Feng smiled. Elder Su Wumian, I'm very curious about your sex Spirit Surge Pill. Rumor has it that this pill's recipe has been lost for a long time. Where did you get it? This question touched everyone's heart. Hundreds of thousands of cultivators all stared at the stage. Su Wumian's palms were covered in cold sweat. He knew Qin Feng wouldn't ask any good questions. If he knew this earlier, he wouldn't care about his dignity and just left. But it was too late now. Su Wumian realized that if he didn't give everyone a satisfactory answer, he wouldn't be able to leave here in one piece. The Spirit Surge Pill was found by our sect leader by chance in a cave dwelling in an ancient ruin. Originally, I planned to show it to everyone at the auction and had no intention of auctioning it. Unexpectedly, a disciple of the sect was careless and mistook the Spirit Surge Pill for the Yuan Transformation Pill and auctioned it off. This has brought inconvenience to everyone, please forgive me. Su Wumian was obviously an old fox. He made up a lie right away. Many cultivators believed him, but Qin Feng sneered inside. That Spirit Surge Pill was clearly auctioned by him under the name of Shinkuan Smith Workshop. What ancient cave dwelling? It was all bullshit. Oh? Where is that ancient cave dwelling? There should be a lot of treasures in there, right? Qin Feng continued to ask. The crowd on the square was boiling. An ancient ruined cave abode was a fortuitous encounter that everyone yearned for. Many famous mighty figures in the South Flat Continent had encountered an ancient ruined cave abode when they were young. The fiendish cultivator Protector Li Tian, who was floating in the air, was one of them. Su Wumian felt even more guilty. How could there be an ancient cave dwelling? This was all a lie he made up on the spot. However, he had already said it, so there was no reason for him to take it back. Otherwise, the matter of the Spirit Surge Pill would definitely be exposed. Cough, cough. As we all know, the Immortal's cave abode in the ancient ruins is something that can only be discovered by luck. How can I casually reveal such a place? Moreover, my sect leader has never mentioned the location of the Immortal's cave abode in front of me. I don't even know where it is." This explanation was reasonable, and the square was filled with sighs of despair. So it's like that. Qin Feng thought for a while. Su Wumian thought he had nothing else to ask. Just as he wiped the sweat off his forehead, Qin Feng continued. "But I saw that the bottle of spirit surge pill wasn't formed that long ago. It's at most 2 years old. How could it be from an ancient ruined cave abode?" This question hit the nail on the head. The cultivators on the square immediately reacted. When they thought back to the spirit surge pill they saw before, they were sure that it wasn't that old. In terms of observation of the spirit surge pill, the 4 great protectors of the 80-mile city had the most detailed observation. Especially Hai Qiji. He had personally grabbed the bottle of spirit surge pill and examined it closely for a long time. When Qin Feng pointed out his suspicions, Hai Qiji's expression changed drastically. He was sure that the bottle of spirit surge pill was only 2 years old. From the looks of it, Xingquan sect's Grand Elder Su Wumian was lying. Su Wumian immediately felt countless divine sense sweep over his body. It felt like he was stripped naked and being stared at by hundreds of thousands of people. Among these divine senses were a large number of saint kings and Buddha light ants. Normally, if these kinds of ants dared to use their divine sense to look at his body, he would have slapped them to death. "You don't talk nonsense. That bottle of spirit surge pill was found by the sect head in an ancient ruined cave abode." Su Wumian glared at Qin Feng angrily. If looks could kill, Qin Feng would have died 1,000 times already. Qin Feng acted like he didn't know anything and said, "As for the age of that bottle of spirit surge pill, I think anyone with a discerning eye can see something fishy. I don't understand what Grand Elder Su Wumian is trying to hide by lying. Could it be that the spirit surge pill wasn't found in the ancient cave abode? Then where did it come from?" Su Wumian was speechless. How would he know where that bottle of spirit surge pills came from? He only knew which crazy cultivator was auctioning the spirit surge pill in the name of the Xingquan weapon workshop. Seeing that Su Wumian didn't reply, the crowd began to discuss. Looks like the spirit surge pill really wasn't found in the ancient ruined cave abode. Rumor has it that 2 years ago, the spirit surge pill appeared in the North Sand continent. The age of that spirit surge pill is just right. Could it be that the Xingquan sect bought it from the North Sand continent? Perhaps the rumor of the spirit surge pill appearing in the North Sand continent is true, but the spirit surge pill would never reach the South Flat continent. Such a miraculous pill must be in short supply in the North Sand continent. Why would the people there be willing to sell it to the South Flat continent? I know. Could it be that the Xingquan sect obtained the pill recipe for the spirit surge pill? That bottle of spirit surge pill was made by them. The imagination of hundreds of thousands of cultivators was heaven-defying. Very soon, someone said what Qin Feng was thinking. The reason why Qin Feng went through so much trouble to auction the spirit surge pill in the name of the Xingquan weapon workshop was to make the Xingquan weapon workshop fall into the water and make everyone suspect that the Xingquan sect was secretly hiding the pill recipe. Now that he had achieved his goal, Qin Feng believed that even if he didn't do anything to the Xingquan sect in the future, there would be other sects and people who would cause trouble for the Xingquan sect. Don't talk nonsense. This bottle of spirit surge pill was really found by the sect leader in the ancient cave abode. TSK. The crowd snorted. Su Wumian's eyes were about to pop out. She had no choice but to shout. All right, I admit that the spirit surge pill doesn't belong to the Xingquan sect. I wonder who auctioned this bottle under the name of the Xingquan weapon workshop. I hope that cultivator can step forward and seek justice for the Xingquan sect. This was definitely not an era for telling the truth, whether it was on Earth or the Divine Supreme Mainland. Do you think we're idiots? Who would auction such a valuable spirit surge pill under someone else's name? Isn't that crazy? Grand Elder Wumian, there's no need to quibble. The more you explain, the more it shows that you're guilty. I think there's an 80% chance that your sect obtained the pill formula for the spirit surge pill. This pill formula can benefit all the cultivators of the South Flat continent. Your sect is a 6-star sect after all, so you should be impartial and announce the pill formula to the public. No wonder the Xingquan sect has been developing so quickly in recent years. It's almost catching up to a 7-star sect. So it's because they secretly hid the pill recipe. Chapter 1978. Su Wumian wanted to cry but no tears came out. If only Xingquan sect had the recipe for the spirit surge pill. Why would he be tricked by a mere bottle of spirit surge pill? At this moment, Su Wumian hated the bastard who used the Xingquan Smith workshop to auction the spirit surge pill. If he knew his identity, he would definitely kill him. However, now was not the time to talk about revenge. The most important thing was to clear up everyone's misunderstanding of Xingquan sect. But Su Wumian knew that no matter how he explained, no one would believe him. Senior Xian Hai, Xingquan sect still has some business to take care of. I must return to the sect immediately. Su Wumian planned to take the spirit surge pill and run. Yin Fei and Hai Qiji stared at him coldly like he was a piece of fat meat that was about to fly away. Xian Hai's expression remained calm as he waved his hand and said, "Whether you stay or leave is your own choice. The 4 protectors of the 80-mile city will not force you to stay." Su Wumian sighed in relief. He wasn't afraid of the hundreds of thousands of cultivators on the square. He was more worried that the protectors of the 80-mile city would target the spirit surge pill. This was the territory of the 80-mile city. If Xian Hai and the other protectors wanted the spirit surge pill, Su Wumian wouldn't be able to resist. "Apologies, fellow cultivators, I'll be leaving first." Su Wumian clasped his hands and disappeared on his flying sword. He didn't plan on leaving the 80-mile city right away. He wanted to send the news of the spirit surge pill back to Xingquan sect and wait for the sect leader's arrangements. Su Wumian's departure caused a wave of sighs in the square. This meant that a bottle of spirit surge pill had flown away just like that. The auction continued as normal. However, many cultivators were still immersed in the excitement of the spirit surge pill and didn't care about the items being auctioned. This was what Qin Feng wanted to achieve. Even though he was at Nihility God Realm Level 3, he wasn't confident that he could take on Xingquan sect, the Immortal Gourd, and the dominating Heaven Furnace Trading Company at the same time. Plus, he had to bring his father and grandfather with him. Now that the news of Xingquan sect hiding the spirit surge pill had spread like wildfire, Su Wumian was under a lot of pressure. He couldn't even take care of his own matters. How could he have the time to deal with Qin Feng? As such, Qin Feng's only enemies were the Celestial Gourd and the dominating Heaven Furnace firm. As for Mu Feng and Mu He and the Immortal Gourd, he wasn't afraid of them. The dominating Heaven Furnace firm would at most send out Kilio and Hai Meng, but they wouldn't be able to threaten Qin Feng. Qin Feng didn't have much hope for the large auction in the 80-kilometer city. Just as he was about to sneak away, the spirit-seeking bug in the system gave off a strong response. "Little pig, what treasure did the spirit-seeking bug find?" Qin Feng immediately stopped. After several treasure hunts, he was already very optimistic about the spirit-seeking bug's treasure hunting ability. Even the mountain of life was sensed by the spirit-seeking bug. "I don't know exactly what treasure it is, but judging from the spirit-seeking bug's intense reaction, it should be a very powerful treasure," Little Pig said excitedly. Qin Feng immediately looked in the direction the spirit-seeking bug was sensing. His gaze fell on the auction stage. At this moment, a new item was pushed onto the stage. It was a long and wide ruler. The ruler was made of some unknown material. It was jet black and looked like a piece of broken stone. The treasure sensed by the spirit-seeking bug was that broken stone. "What the hell is this? Why is a broken stone being auctioned? What a waste of everyone's time. How many items are there in the 80-kilometer city's auction? Is there a treasure more amazing than the spirit-charging pill? The following items are all personal items. I don't think there will be any treasures. Everyone, let's go." The stone was placed on the display shelf, causing everyone to ridicule it. "Director," was said with an awkward expression. "Everyone, please calm down. This item was put up for auction by a wandering cultivator. According to the registration information, that wandering cultivator doesn't know what it is. It might be a rare treasure." The starting price is 100,000 high-quality spirit stones. Each increment must be no less than 10,000 spirit stones. When it came to rare treasures, everyone naturally understood. Rare treasures were like miraculous pills. They were rare treasures. However, true rare treasures were very difficult to distinguish. It was possible that you wouldn't recognize it even if it was placed in front of you. Every year in the 80-kilometer city, there would be some wandering cultivators who put up rare treasures for auction. They didn't even know what those items were. They just came to try their luck. Maybe some powerful cultivators would recognize it and buy it at a high price. In the beginning, when rare treasures were put up for auction, everyone fought fiercely. However, after a few years of auction, everyone found that many of those so-called rare treasures were useless. Therefore, the popularity of rare treasures gradually died down. Now, the starting price of rare treasures was only 100,000 spirit stones. When Director was shouted the starting price, the square became unusually quiet. Any previous auction item would attract many cultivators to bid for it. However, at this time, no one wanted the stone on the stage. Using such a rare treasure to cheat people? Do you think we're stupid? What the hell is that thing? It looks like a ruler, but it's made of stone. What can it be used for? It can't even chop firewood. Director, let's move on to the next auction item. No one will want this broken stone. The square was filled with shouts. Director's face was full of embarrassment. Just as he was about to change the next item, a sudden voice came from the crowd. 110,000 spirit stones. Hundreds of thousands of gazes swept towards the source of the voice. They wanted to see which idiot cultivator wanted to spend 100,000 spirit stones to buy a broken stone. When they saw the face of the cultivator who shouted the bid, many people came to a sudden realization. The one who called out the bid was the young cultivator who had bid against the immortal gourd for 88 cultivation furnaces not long ago. Later, he had even publicly questioned the Grand Elder of Starquin's sect about the Spirit Surge pill. In the eyes of everyone, these two actions were very idiotic. He had offended two six-star sects for no reason. Many cultivators had long suspected that there was something wrong with Qin Fen's brain. Seeing that it was him who stood up to shout the price, it was understandable. Qin Fen couldn't be bothered with everyone's discussion. He was worried about another matter. Although he couldn't see what the stone was, since the spirit-seeking bug showed such a strong reaction, it meant that it was a rare treasure. Qin Fen was afraid that some Almighty would also see the treasure. If there was really a cauldron-filling state Almighty who jumped out to bid, Qin Fen wondered if he should withdraw. However, after a while, he realized that he seemed to be thinking too much. There were no other cultivators who were interested in that broken stone with the shape of a ruler. Is there anyone else who wants to bid for this treasure? Don't be fooled by its appearance. It looks just like a broken stone. Maybe there is an unknown treasure hidden inside. Director tried to confuse the crowd again. After all, the final price of 110,000 spirit stones was too low. Not to mention the fact that the 80-mile city basically wouldn't get any money, just the news of it would be embarrassing enough. However, his words were useless. Most of the cultivators in the square had come to the 80-mile city's auction before. Director also said the same thing in the previous auctions. He didn't even change his words. 120,000 high-grade spirit stones. However, just as Director was about to close the deal, another voice suddenly came out. Everyone immediately looked over and saw that it was Tyrannical Furnace Firm's Curio who was bidding. Not long ago, Tyrannical Furnace Firm sold the 88 human furnaces for 100 million high-grade spirit stones and 3 low-grade true artifacts. It could be said that they made a lot of money. After that, Mu Feng and Mu He tried to bargain with Curio but were mercilessly rejected. When Qin Fen saw Curio come out to bid, he immediately understood the other party's intention. With Curio's experience, it was impossible for him to recognize the mystery of the stone. Moreover, he deliberately increased the price by 10,000 spirit stones. This was clearly going against him. Qin Fen knew that if he increased the price again, the other party would also increase the price. He had used this trick on Mu He and Mu Feng not long ago, but he didn't expect that he would be counterattacked. However, he couldn't back down. Otherwise, he might miss out on a treasure. After some careful consideration, Qin Fan shouted again. I didn't expect Tyrannical Furnace Firm's Elder Kirio to also have his eyes on this treasure. However, I advise you to withdraw as soon as possible because I am determined to obtain this treasure. Kirio was furious in front of everyone. You ant cultivator, do you know how to speak? This old man's name is Kirio, don't call me that if you don't know me. Qin Fan was deliberately angering him to make him lose his mind. As if he couldn't see the other party's anger, he laughed and said, Elder Kirio, why are you so angry? Of course I know your name is Kirio, but don't you think it's very intimate for me to call you Kirio? Kirio. A burst of laughter came from the square. You ant, besides being good at arguing, what other skills do you have? This old man is too lazy to talk nonsense with you. Are you going to increase the price or not? Kirio was angry. Qin Fan looked at him with a smile and said, Of course I will increase the price. I just said that this treasure is a peerless treasure. No matter how much you increase it, I will accompany you to the end. How about this? Not long ago your Tyrannical Furnace firm made a lot of money. Let's play a bit bigger and increase the price by 10 million spirit stones. How about it? I bid 10 million high-grade spirit stones. When Qin Fan's words fell, the square burst into an uproar. Everyone had seen rich cultivators, but they had never seen a cultivator as rich as Qin Fan. In the eyes of everyone, Qin Fan couldn't even be described as rich. This guy spending 10 million spirit stones to buy a broken stone was simply an idiotic action. When the bid of 10 million was shouted, Qin Fan looked at Kirio with a playful expression. However, Kirio's expression became even more proud as he faced the sky and laughed. Ha ha! Surname Qin grandson, do you really think this old man is an idiot? You want to bid 10 million for a broken stone? Are you out of your mind? Since you have so much money, this old man will let you have it. That broken stone is yours. Ha! So it turned out that Kirio deliberately dug a pit for Qin Fan. This trick was exactly the same as when Qin Fan cheated the immortal gourd. However, Qin Fan was sneering in his heart. How could he not see through Kirio's thoughts? He deliberately raised the price of the stone from 100,000 to 10 million just to trick Kirio into leaving. To any cultivator in the square, spending 10 million spirit stones to buy a piece of trash was absolutely an idiotic action. However, only Qin Fan firmly believed that spending 10 million spirit stones was worth it. Let alone 10 million, if Kirio still wanted to increase the price, Qin Fan would definitely fight to the end. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.